Chapter 81, The Seven Treasure Glazed Sect. I didn't force myself. Lin Hanye muttered in his heart, lamenting the girl's innocence, and did not forget to BS, you should know that there is another gifted girl around me, and for safety reasons, I am also with Ling Yuan. He emphasized the two words gifted and for safety reasons. As expected, after hearing Lin Hanye's words, Bibi Dong, who had originally been quite dissatisfied with the fact that there were two more girls around Lin Hanye, instantly had all the gloom and depression hidden deep in her heart swept away. Instead, she felt more and more heartache and touched by Lin Hanye. I know you're doing all this for me, but you don't have to do everything by yourself. I don't want to see you pushing yourself like this, and I don't want anything to happen to you. Before Bibi Dong could finish her words, she was interrupted by Lin Hanye. This is my own choice. There is no embarrassment or coercion, and I don't take responsibility for anyone. I just want the woman I love to be happy. He spoke slowly, not mentioning Bibi Dong in every sentence, but every sentence was about Bibi Dong. In short, he has lost all his dignity in order to start a harem. But you are not happy now. Bibi Dong's eyes turned red and she felt extremely guilty. She felt that Lin Hanye had sacrificed too much for her. So what? In this world where the strong prey on the weak, innocence is a sin and will only lead people to the abyss. Only power is eternal. Power can protect everything I love in my heart. Lin Hanye's face suddenly became serious. He separated from Bibi Dong, looked at her and spoke in a deep voice. At this moment, Bibi Dong's face was a little wet because she had just shed tears. A few strands of hair were stuck to her pretty face. She looked so pure and sexy. Well, how can I describe this look? It really makes me feel sorry for her. Lin Hanye thought, if there wasn't Jian Sunji watching him closely from behind, who knows if he would pounce on her and let her a beating. A year ago, you defeated Tang Hao. Although Tang Chen ordered Tang Hao to solve the matter himself, several elders of the Clear Sky sect have been tracking your whereabouts in private. Xiao Xian, you must be more careful when participating in the Soul Master competition this time. The Clear Sky sect has always been willing to do anything to maintain its reputation as the world's #1 sect. The same thing happened in Huangjin City. If you hadn't changed your name and appearance and clothing, you would have been hunted down by the Clear Sky sect long ago. Seeing Lin Hanye so determined, Bibi Dong paused and stopped trying to persuade him. However, when she mentioned the Clear Sky sect, the murderous intent on her face was hard to conceal. It's as expected. Looking at the entire rat sect, except for Tang Chen, the rest are rats. Relying on Tang Chen's reputation, they look down on everyone and never take anyone seriously. They follow the style of it's okay for me to hit you, but if you hit me back, it's not okay, you deserve to die. They are typical people who can't stand losing. If they dare to come, I don't mind making them pay with their lives. There was murderous intent in Lin Hanye's eyes. Bibi Dong nodded and continued, as for the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, you should also be more careful. What do you mean? Lin Hanye asked with a frown. Although he hated the Seven Treasures Glazed sect and Ning Fengzi from the bottom of his heart, so far, they should have no conflicts. Of course, Bibi Dong didn't need to remind him that he was also on guard against the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. After all, Gurong is not an easy guy to get along with, and the Ning family father and son are even more ruthless than each other. Bibi Dong said, back then, your father and Yu Xinglong disappeared in the Stat Do Great Forest and there has been no news since then. I used Yu Xinglong's death to attack King Sunji and his side to find the murderer who killed your father. He said that Yu Xinglong's death was very strange. To hunt the third spirit ring, you only need to stay outside the Star Do Great Forest. You don't need to go deep into the interior. With the protection of a spirit saint, you can fully guarantee your safety. At that time, there was no news of spirit beasts rioting in the Star Do Great Forest. That is to say, Yu Xinglong was most likely killed by someone with ulterior motives. The most likely suspects who have this motive are the Spirit Hall, the Clear Sky sect, and the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. But Qingxunji did not send anyone to kill Yuxinglong at that time. Yuxinglong, who only had the innate spirit power of level 9.5, could not pose a threat to the Spirit Hall. And the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect is a beast spirit, and its overall strength is far inferior to that of the Clear Sky sect. It is impossible for it to shake the Clear Sky sect's position as the world's #1 sect and the world's #1 weapon spirit. The Clear Sky sect can also be ruled out as a suspect, so the most likely suspect is the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Ever since Lin Hanye was killed by Yu Luomian in his previous life, Bibi Dong has not let go of any unfavorable factors that may threaten Lin Hanye's life safety. Over the years, she used her authority as a saint to investigate the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect thoroughly. It would have been better if she hadn't investigated. After the investigation, she found out that the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect had assassinated many geniuses from Soul Master families over the years without being known to others. Yu Xinglong can only be regarded as one of them. At best, his status and talent are high enough, making him more famous. I will handle it carefully. But don't focus too much on me. The next Slaughter City will be a big challenge for you. Lin Hanye nodded, without showing any surprise on his face. In fact, even if the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect had no grudge against him, he had no intention of letting them go. Because whether it is the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, the Clear Sky sect, or even the Two Empires, they are all stumbling blocks on his way forward. Yet, Bibi Dong responded softly, and the two sat down. Looking at the handsome face so close, Bibi Dong's eyes were gentle. After a moment of silence, she gently smoothed the hem of her skirt and asked softly, "Do you want to lie down for a while? Knee pillow?" What a blessing! Lin Hanye was silent for a few seconds, nodded slowly, and lay on Bibi Dong's knee pillow very naturally, while the latter gave him a massage. From the front, you see a mountain range, from the side, you see a peak, from a distance, you see a different height. Lin Hanye squinted his eyes, looking at the peaks in front of Bibi Dong, and said slowly, "You should be almost level 70 now." Bibi Dong responded softly. She broke through to level 60 a year and a half ago, and her 6th soul ring was after absorbing a 70,000-year soul ring. The soul power increased to level 62.5, close to level 63. Over the past year and a half, with the help of Acacia Red and the opening of all 8 meridians, her soul power has improved rapidly, and she just broke through to level 6 not long ago. It only takes 1 or 2 years to break through level 70. Lin Hanye warned, the real danger of the Slaughter City is not the hell-killing grounds, nor the fallen, but the murderous aura contained within. It takes time to calm down, and once you can't bear it, it's easy to lose yourself and become a fallen. End of this chapter, 10 Chapter 82, Chapter 82. Chapter 82. Since you don't plan to absorb the spiritual immune skull rewarded by the Soul Master competition, don't rush to refine the Yearning Heartbroken Red. With the Yearning Heartbroken Red protecting your body, it will make you feel much easier and help you get out of the Slaughter City faster. That way, you won't have to spend 3 or 4 years like Tang Hao did. As for the 7th soul ring, I have already chosen it for you. The 7th soul ring that Lin Hanye chose for Bibi Dong was naturally the 100,000-year-old Death Spider King that she hunted for her 9th soul ring in the original novel. Of all the soul beasts, it is the most suitable one to serve as Bibi Dong's 7th soul ring. As for the location of the 100,000-year-old Death Spider King, Lin Hanye had already confirmed it in the previous 2 simulations. It was hidden in a gloomy canyon in the Stardo Great Forest that never sees the sun all year round. By the time Bibi Dong will came out of the City of Slaughter, Lin Hanye will be almost level 70. When he reaches level 70, whether it is the evolution of the two domains or the opening of his martial soul's true body, his strength will be greatly improved, directly comparable to or even surpassing that of an ordinary titled Douluo. By joining forces with Ling Yuan, and with the help of Yin, Lu Erlong, Xiao Xian, and others, there will be a great chance of completing the hunt. Yes. I will listen to you in everything. Bibi Dong always obeys Lin Hanye's arrangements. Also, if you encounter the inheritance of the Rakshasa god's throne in there, don't agree to it. But Lin Hanye's next words made her very confused. Isn't it good to inherit the throne of God? The spirit hall also has a godhood inheritance, which is the god of angels, but that godhood can only be inherited by the owner of an angel spirit. In Bibi Dong's opinion, if she can obtain the godhood, she will be able to live with Lin Hanye in the future. It's good to have a divine inheritance, but Rakshasa is an exception. Not only will it limit your strength, it will also turn you into an ugly lunatic. Thinking back to the Rakshasa inheritance, Lin Hanye felt that it was a huge pit. Apart from a divine position, there was no other reward. During the divine test, one's strength would be restricted. Moreover, after completing the first 8 tests, one would need to accumulate the soul power equivalent to that of an extreme Douluo to start the 9th test. Become ugly? Become crazy? After listening to Lin Hanye, Bibi Dong, who was originally interested in the Rakshasa inheritance, instantly lost interest. Speaking of which, when she passed through the slaughter city in her previous life, the Rakshasa god had come to her. At that time, she was eager to improve her strength and take revenge, so she agreed without hesitation. But since Xiao Linzi is still alive, it doesn't matter if we don't take this divine test. She didn't want Xiao Linzi to see her turned into a crazy woman and look ugly one day. Since Bibi Dong ran away secretly, she couldn't stay outside for too long, otherwise it would easily arouse suspicion from others. As a result, all the efforts were wasted because King Sunji discovered it. Therefore, as the sky gradually darkened, the two separated even though they were reluctant. In order not to arouse suspicion, Lin Hanye left the tea house half an hour later than Bibi Dong and then returned to the Angel Hotel where Ling Yuan had booked rooms for him and Xiao Xian. By this time, Xiao Xian had already returned. He learned from the front desk that Xiao Xian went straight back to his room as soon as he came back. Lin Hanye knew that the other party was practicing, thinking about reaching level 60 as soon as possible, so that his martial soul would have combat power and he could be with Han Yu. He did not disturb him and went straight to room 502 where Ling Yuan was. As soon as Lin Hanye entered the room, he saw Ling Yuan waiting for him in a very sexy pajamas. The two of them were like dry wood meeting fire, and they burst into flames with a snap. This night is destined to be another sleepless night. While Lin Hanye and Ling Yuan were going crazy, on the other side inside the prince's mansion in Tiandu City, Prince Sui and Ning Fengzi, two close friends who were always in the same boat, sat leisurely on the main seat at the top, sipping their tea while listening to the reports from their subordinates below. Hai Badong, martial spirit ice, was born in a small village called in the northern part of the empire's Fasno province. He first came to Tiandu City 5 years and 3 months ago. At the age of 14, with a 29th level soul power, he get the iron badge in the Great Soul Fighting Arena. On the same day, he defeated Yu Xiaoman, a disciple of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, and formed a double soul fighting team with a great soul master named Lu Erlong, whose martial soul was the Fire Dragon, and won 15 consecutive victories. 5 years and 2 months ago, he reappeared in great fighting spirit in Soto City in the Barak Kingdom and formed a team with Xiao Xian to form a group fighting spirit. In the following 2 months, the three of them roamed around various fighting arenas, earning money by placing bets. In every fighting arena they participated in, they won with an overwhelming advantage. The last time he appeared in the Great Fighting Spirit Arena was 5 years ago, when Huang Yuiao was in charge of the Golden Great Fighting Spirit Arena. Shuya gently put down the fragrant tea in his hand, with no expression of joy or sadness. That's all. Yes, Your Highness. This is all the information we have so far through the records of the Great Fighting Spirit Arena. The servant from the prince's mansion answered respectfully. Shuye waved his hand, signaling the other party to leave, and turned his gaze to Ning Fengzi. Fengzi, it seems that this man is not as simple as imagined. No wonder Huang Yuiao thinks so highly of him. Even my father wants me to try my best to win him over. But why doesn't he participate in the Soul Master competition? It's not that he don't want to participate, but he don't dare to participate. Ning Fengzi showed a mysterious smile on his face. What do you mean? Shuye became interested instantly after hearing this. 5 years ago, I should have met this person. At that time, several great nobles in Golden City were dissatisfied with the Bright Sword Lion family occupying the vast majority of the great soul fighting arena. So they spent a lot of money to invite the 7 most outstanding second-generation disciples of the Clear Sky sect, except for the Clear Sky twins, to participate in the group soul fighting. That is, the Clear Sky team that is currently participating in the Star Luo division. The intention is to put pressure on the Golden Sword Lion family through betting. For this reason, Huang Yuiao also invited 7 people to fight, and Hai Badong was among them. Ning Fengzi said calmly. Shuye also remembered this incident and asked in surprise. Could this person be the Ice Emperor you once told me about, the one who defeated 5 soul masters of the Clear Sky sect alone with his low cultivation? It's almost certain, but he was probably afraid of retaliation from the Clear Sky sect, so he changed his appearance. After all, you should know what happened afterwards. The Clear Sky sect really couldn't afford to lose, and that old guy Tang Lai couldn't help but take action in public in the Great Fighting Spirit Arena. Thinking back to when he had specifically come at the right time to help with Jian Douluo, Ning Fengzi's mouth curled up with a hint of pride. End of this chapter, Chapter 83, Chapter 83, Old Titan Chapter 83, Old Titan. At that time Sword Douluo originally planned to warn Tang Lai before he made a move so that the other party would not dare to act recklessly. After all, Tang Lai's attack was not a spur-of-the-moment action, but rather a process of preparation. During this process, the fluctuation of his soul power could definitely not be concealed from the perception of Sword Douluo, the titled Douluo. But when Sword Douluo wanted to stop him, he was rejected by Ning Fengzi. He waited until Tang Lai attacked Lin Hanye and confronted Huang Yuiao, and the two sides were deadlocked, and then stepped in to mediate. Ning Fengzi believes that only in this way can benefits be maximized. Otherwise, how can he show that his 7 treasure glazed tile sect is helping the poor, and how can he make Huang Yuiao and Hai Badong remember his 7 treasure glazed tile sect's great kindness? Humph, the Clear Sky sect is still as overbearing as ever, thinking that they can do whatever they want by relying on Clear Sky Douluo. Aren't they afraid that in the future, when Tang Chen is gone, their enemies will come and destroy their lair? Shuye sneered. Although the Spirit Hall was powerful at that time, its influence and ambition had not yet expanded to the point in the future when it frightened the entire Spirit Master world and even the 2 empires. In addition, the Clear Sky sect supported the Star Luo Empire, which was hostile to the Tiandu Empire, which made Shuye dislike the Clear Sky sect even more. The Clear Sky sect considers itself the best sect in the world and has always looked down on other spirit masters. Even the Spirit Hall is not taken seriously by most of their disciples. It is only a matter of time before something goes wrong. But I think His Highness can win over Hai Badong. Once Hai Badong is won over, Shao Xian, a promising food-type spirit master, will certainly turn to the Crown Prince. With the help of these 2 people, plus the full support of my 7 treasures glazed tile sect, His Highness the Crown Prince's position will be more stable. Ning Fengzi said as a matter of fact. Shuye nodded in agreement. In the following period, Shuye and Ning Fengzi spared no effort to win over Lin Hanye. They held a small banquet every 3 days and a large banquet every 5 days. The word recruitment was always mentioned in their words. With the intention of using the two to establish a Soul Master Guild in the future, Lin Hanye was happy to see it happen. Although he did not agree to their recruitment, he also promised that the affairs of the Crown Prince and Brother Ning are my Haibadong's affairs. In just less than a month, Lin Hanye had already become very successful in Tiandu City. Almost everyone knows that he is good friends with Crown Prince Shuya and the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect's young master Ning Fengzi. Titan, the patriarch of the power clan in Tiandu City, is naturally no exception. At a banquet hosted by Prince Shuya, Lin Hanye met the old Titan who had just been promoted to Soul Douluo. It turned out to be him. As early as when they went to pick up Tang Hao, the Clear Sky sect ordered people to draw a portrait of Lin Hanye based on the description of the town's spectators, so old Titan recognized at a glance the despicable and shameless guy in front of him is who had beaten up his master. He didn't expect that the other person's name was not Flanders, but Haibadong. No wonder the Clear Sky sect found nothing after a year of investigation. The only person they found was an unlucky guy whose martial spirit was a four-eyed owl. After realizing that he was not the person they were looking for, they beat him up and let him go. Father, you know this man. Also attending the banquet was Titan's son Tainyo. Seeing his father staring at Lin Hanye, he asked in confusion. The pure gold wine glass in his hand creaked as it was squeezed. Titan glanced at his son coldly and said, "Shut up." With just 2 words, he completely tucked Tainyo in back. As the saying goes, if the king humiliates his subject, he will die. The same goes for master and servant. Ever since Lin Hanye used despicable means to injure his master, he had been on old Titan's kill list. Besides, several elders of Clear Sky sect have already issued a hunting order, although out of consideration for the impact, not too many people know about it. But as the person involved, old Titan is one of the insiders. Seeing the despicable man who had severely injured his master, he would not let him go easily. He would use the man's blood to pay for the humiliation his master had suffered. Then he would take the man's head and give it to his master to show his loyalty. Of course, old Titan also knew that now was not the time to take action. Killing people in front of the Crown Prince of Tiandu Empire in the Crown Prince's mansion, unless his clan no longer wants to stay in Tiandu City. Go back and find 2 tribesmen to keep an eye on him. If he leaves the city, notify me immediately. The old Titan transmitted the message to his son through his soul power. Tainyo knew that this boy named Haibadong was being targeted by his father. While mourning for him in his heart, he left the prince's mansion without hesitation. Naturally, Lin Hanye saw their little actions. It seems that this old guy has bad intentions. Well, let's start with this old dog. Lin Hanye thought to himself that he had noticed the father and son entering the prince's mansion. If the other party had no bad intentions, it would be fine. If they had bad intentions, he would not mind making the Strength clan disappear. The banquet ended at dusk. Lin Hanye rejected Prince Sui's repeated attempts to keep him and chose to leave. Now the preliminaries of the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition have ended. Since the Yelin City Advanced Soul Master Academy only has one Soul Master, Han Shui, even with the help of Shao Xians, it is still no match for the Four Elements Academy and Elephant Armor Academy, which have more than 3 Soul Masters and whose overall soul power is far higher than theirs. Not to mention the most powerful Spirit Hall Academy. In the end, they only got 7th place and missed the promotion match. He was already on his way back to Yelin. Even so, there are still countless Soul Master families extending olive branches to Shao Xian. But he declined them all. The reason is simple, he already has a family, Haibadong is his brother, wherever Haibadong goes, he goes. After learning that Haibadong was on good terms with Crown Prince Shuye, everyone had no choice but to give up the idea of recruiting Shao Xian. How is things going with that girl now? At the Angel Hotel, Lin Hanye called Shao Xian, who was practicing hard to improve his soul power, to his room. I made an agreement with her that after I obtain the 6th spirit ring, I will go to her house to propose marriage. If I can successfully find a way to make the food-type martial spirit have attack power. Xiao Xian answered truthfully. Is it time to talk about marriage so soon? Lin Hanye showed an expression that seemed to be smiling but not smiling. Xiao Xian blushed when he heard this, and quickly changed the subject. Don't talk about me, how are you and that saint lady? Of course it's a good deal, but now is not the time to talk about this. We should leave. Lin Hanye's expression suddenly became serious and he said seriously. Did anyone from the Clear Sky sect come to visit us? Xiao Xian frowned, and at the same time he felt a little guilty, because if he hadn't participated in the Soul Master competition to pursue Han Yu, the two of them would not have been exposed. No, it's just a running dog of the Clear Sky sect. Lin Hanye walked to the window and looked outside the Angel Hotel. He found 2 tall members of the Strength clan hiding in the dark in a clumsy manner in the corner diagonally opposite the Angel Hotel. He couldn't help but feel a little amused. As expected, apart from his strength, he had no other advantages. He had never seen anyone stalking people like this before. It seemed as if he was afraid that others would not notice him. He is from the Strength clan. Xiao Xian also discovered them, and his expression instantly turned cold. He had not been in Tiandu City for nothing these days. He knew that the Strength clan is one of the 4 single attribute sects of the Clear Sky sect, was stationed in Tiandu City. End of this chapter, Chapter 84, Chapter 84, A Dark and Windy Night Best for Murder. Chapter 84, A Dark and Windy Night Best for Murder. You pack up, I'll go find Ling Yuan just in case. Lin Hanye said to Xiao Xian. No need, I'm already here. As soon as the words fell, Lin Hanye and Xiao Xian felt a gust of wind blowing past them. They turned around and saw Ling Yuan, who was dressed in red and had a graceful figure, sitting on the tea table in the middle of the room, pouring herself a cup of tea. Did you just kill someone? In the 4th and 5th simulations, Lin Hanye went to the city of slaughter twice. Now he has the domain of the god of death, so he is particularly sensitive to murderous and bloody auras. From Ling Yuan, he felt a faint smell of blood and a murderous aura that had not yet completely dissipated. Nothing much, I just killed a gorilla outside Tiandu City who was delivering a message to the Clear Sky sect. Ling Yuan said this and waved her hand casually. Lin Hanye raised his hand reflexively and took it. There was a letter in his hand. Lin Hanye opened it and showed no surprise on his face. This old titan is not stupid after all. This letter was not written to anyone else, but was written by old Titan to Tang Wei, the leader of the Clear Sky sect. The content was concise and clear. Basically, he discovered the despicable villain who used despicable means to defeat his master Tang Hao. Considering that the other party had the ability to fly, he was worried that he might escape, so he asked the Clear Sky sect to send 2 helpers as soon as possible. It would be best to call Bai He from the Speed clan, as Bai He was his master's uncle. He also didn't have to worry about the other party developing aversion to the Clear Sky sect because of this incident. What a great sect, what a great weapon spirit. After reading the contents of the letter, Xiao Xian was also shocked. Because from the content of the letter, it is not difficult to see that the Clear Sky sect has issued a killing order against them. The reason was that they had injured Tang Hao, the leader of the younger generation of the Clear Sky sect, the future leader, and the successor to the next Clear Sky Douluo. Lao Lin, what are we going to do? Xiao Xian asked with a serious expression. It's a dark and windy night best for murder. Lin Hanye walked back to the window, looked up at the night covered by dark clouds, and Xiao Xian and Ling Yuan also followed him over. One stood on the left and one on the right behind Lin Hanye, gazing at the hazy moonlight with him. There was murderous intent in the eyes of the 3 of them. After a while, Lin Hanye and Xiao Xian seemed not to notice that they were being monitored, and they left Tiandu city ready to go. One of the two disciples of the Strength clan who were monitoring them continued to follow and monitor them, while the other returned to the Strength clan's residence as soon as possible and informed Old Titan. What? They are leaving now. Inside the Strength clan's mansion, Old Titan's eyebrows twitched and his voice was deep. The disciple of the Strength clan who came back to report the news lowered his head and said, "Yes, clan leader, he checked out not long ago and left the Angel Hotel with his companions and went out from east. Damn it, he runs so fast." The Old Titan felt that he had nowhere to vent his anger, so he pressed his palm on the wooden table next to him. With a bang, the sturdy wooden table shattered and turned into sawdust. The disciples of the Strength clan were so scared that they dared not look up. After a long while, the Old Titan suppressed his anger, stood up and said, "Don't tell anyone about what happened today, or I will abolish your soul power and expel you from the family. Assassinating geniuses is not a good reputation after all. Although many forces are doing it, it is related to the Clear Sky sect and the reputation of his master, so naturally the fewer people who know about it, the better." How could the members of the Strength clan dare to disobey, and nodded hurriedly. Old Titan nodded with satisfaction, walked out of the mansion, and then hurried towards east side of the city at a quick pace. "Hai Badong, I will never let you get away this time. I will follow you first, and when the elders of Clear Sky sect arrive, it will be your death." Last time, Lin Hanye and others disappeared for a years without any news, but when he got Lin Hanye's information, he learned that Lin Hanye's soul power had gradually caught up with his master and became a soul emperor. This was definitely bad news for the Old Titan. He was less than 20 years old and already a soul emperor. He was almost as good as the saint of the Spirit Hall. If he continued to grow, what would happen? Unfortunately, he was not good at speed, and the other party had a flying spirit. If he escaped, there would be endless trouble. But now, the letter has only been sent out for a short time, and there is not much time left. After leaving the East Gate, Old Titan mobilized his soul power and rushed at lightning speed. After a while, the backs of two young men wearing bamboo hats were seen. Running at a leisurely pace, Lin Hanye released his mental power to the limit. With his breakthrough to Soul Emperor, the medicinal power of the dew in his body had already been completely refined. Even without the head soul bone, his mental power still reached the soul Douluo level. He's finally here. Without looking back, Lin Hanye formed an impression of the other person in his mind based on the mental scan alone. He was a sturdy old man in his 60s. He had met him at a banquet held in the prince's mansion not long ago. He was also an invited guest at that time. After exchanging a glance with Xiao Xian, the two continued their pace as they headed towards a sparsely populated area. Something's wrong. Why is Tai Shan gone? Old Titan's eyelids twitched. He had previously arranged two tribesmen to monitor Lin Hanye. One of them would go back to report the news to him, and the other would continue to follow. But they have gone so far away from Tiandu city and there is no trace of them. Have they been discovered? At this moment, Lin Hanye and Xiao Xian in front quickened their pace and rushed into a forest. Chase. Without any other thoughts, the Old Titan used his soul power to the limit and rushed in at an accelerated speed. But when he entered the depths of the forest, he found that he had lost sight of his target. The Old Titan frowned and cursed angrily, "Damn it, they got away." As soon as he finished speaking, the Old Titan felt his mental strength surge, and he subconsciously jumped off the ground and flew onto the tree. The next moment, the place where he was standing was immediately covered by several meter-long ice spikes that emerged from the ground. What on earth is going on? A drop of cold sweat dripped from the Old Titan's forehead. Even with his spiritual power, he couldn't help but feel scared. If he hadn't instinctively climbed up the tree just now, he would have been pierced through the body by the spikes. Whoosh, whoosh, several more ice spikes emerged, and the Old Titan could only slide to the ground. No matter where he escaped, he would be caught up by the ice spikes that emerged from the ground. In a short while, he was surrounded by dense ice cones. Humph! You are such a coward, you dare to show off your petty tricks in front of me. The vigorous gorilla, possessed, seeing that there was no escape, the old Titan shouted loudly, and the whole person was forcibly raised by 5 inches. With a series of ripping sounds, a gorilla appeared. Yellow, purple, purple, black, and black, 8 soul rings rose under his feet. Dazzling light surrounded his body. End of this chapter. Chapter 85, Chapter 85, The Night of Murder. Chapter 85, The Night of Murder. The first 6 soul rings on his body lit up simultaneously, and the several meter-long ice spikes hit the solid body of the old Titan martial spirit, which was superimposed with the first 6 power soul rings, making a series of banging sounds. After a moment, it turned into ice spikes and flew away. Papa! Applause rang out from the depths of the forest. Lin Hanye walked out of the darkness slowly and said, "No wonder you was able to dodge my ice spikes. It turns out you has been promoted to Soul Douluo. You is worthy of being the patriarch of the Strength clan." His defense is indeed terrifying. "Boy, where is Taizan?" the old Titan asked angrily. "Don't worry, you'll see him soon." Lin Hanye's eyes flashed, and flame-like energy with an ice blue glow penetrated his body and enveloped Lin Hanye's body, rising in yellow, purple, black and red. 6 soul rings rose under his feet, and dazzling light surrounded his body. The second soul ring suddenly lit up. At the same time, the external soul bone of the swift ice bird stretched out from behind Lin Hanye. Lin Hanye's speed instantly increased by 100%, and his ice attribute skill attack instantly increased by 50%. This is 100,000-year soul ring. The old Titan's heart sank. Even the 1,000-year second ring and the 10,000-year fourth ring were subconsciously ignored by him. If such an astonishing genius was allowed to grow, let alone avenge his master, even his entire Strength clan would probably not be able to escape the bad luck. Before he could think about it, a huge ice coffin wrapped him up, with countless ice spikes emerging from it. Tang Hao once told him that although the ice coffin was very tricky, he could just smash it before the ice spikes fell on his body. The old Titan said with disdain, "This is just a trivial trick. Break it for me." As he spoke, the old Titan raised his right fist and slammed it hard on the ground. Dust flew up from the ground beneath his feet, and a huge dent was immediately created. With the dent as the center, the ground began to crack in a spider web shape. As the ice spread, the ice coffin, which was several times harder than iron, actually broke apart inch by inch. Looking at Lin Hanye, who was still standing there stupidly, the old Titan felt even more disdainful. He quickly moved toward Lin Hanye, raised his right fist and punched him. The fist containing soul power was so powerful and heavy that it was instantly between Lin Hanye's eyebrows. The old Titan's mouth corners slightly raised, because Lin Hanye had no way to avoid this punch. However, a strange scene happened. The old Titan's fist actually went straight through Lin Hanye's body, as if his body had no substance. It turned out that while the old Titan was breaking open the ice coffin, Lin Hanye released the frozen domain to interfere with the old Titan's senses, slowing down his speed, and taking the opportunity to use the fifth soul skill Phantom to create an incarnation that was identical to the original body, and planted the third soul skill, the Ice Realm, on him. The real body is hidden in the dark. The old Titan had no time to react, and an ice spikes that was identical to the previous one broke out from the ground below the old Titan, aiming at the weakest point of the old Titans. The old Titan only felt a chill in his lower body, followed by a heartbreaking pain from the weak point of his. Faced with the severe pain in his buttocks, even with old Titan's willpower, he couldn't hold back and screamed. Ah! Before one crisis was over, another one arose. Lin Hanye's fourth soul skill, the 10,000-year ice prison, was quietly activated. Countless ice pillars suddenly rose out of thin air around the old titan. Another scream was heard, and the old titan broke out in a cold sweat. He endured the severe pain, clenched his teeth, and used part of his soul power to resist the cold air invading his body. At the same time, he adjusted the rest of his soul power to the limit, and the seventh soul ring on his body lit up. A moment later, the whole person suddenly turned into a powerful gorilla with a shoulder height of more than 10 meters. At the moment when the 10,000 years ice prison froze him, the eighth soul ring on his body lit up, and with pure power that was enough to rival a titled Douluo, he broke out of the 10,000 years ice prison. However, this also caused the injury to his lower buttocks to become more serious. Almost the entire lower half of his life was completely frozen. Ah, damn bastard! After breaking the ice, the old titan pulled out the ice cone with pain, and blood gushed out from his buttocks. At this time, Lin Hanye's true form finally appeared. It does have some merits, but unfortunately still cannot escape death. Lin Hanye's body appeared in the sky, with an ice dragon over 10 feet long under his feet. He stood on the top of the ice dragon's head, with the 5 fingers of his right hand slightly bent in a claw shape, and 3 white halos surrounding his elbow. Mysterious Ice Dragon Go! At the moment when Old Titan and Lin Hanye looked into each other's eyes, Lin Hanye jumped down from the ice dragon with cold eyes, hovered in the air beside the ice dragon, and waved his hand. Roar! With a loud roar, the ice dragon speed toward the Old Titan. The Old Titan's eyes were wide open. With the second half of his life severely damaged, he could only watch the ice dragon grow bigger in his eyes and then pass through his body. After a moment, the old titan turned into an ice crystal statue with a terrified look, and then fell straight to the ground. Finally it shattered with a loud bang. The old titan dies with unwillingness. At this time, Shao Xian slowly walked out from the darkness. He couldn't believe his eyes until there was no trace of the old titan left. Titan, the patriarch of one of the 4 major affiliated sects of Clear Sky Sect, a sole Douluo level warrior, died just like that. Although I knew that Lin Hanye was very strong, I didn't expect that Lin Hanye was this strong. He is undoubtedly the number 1 person under titled Douluo. Isn't this to be expected? At the same time, Ling Yuan also walked out of the darkness. As an experienced titled Douluo and Lin Hanye's bedmate, she saw the battle between the two clearly. From the beginning to the end, the old titan was under Lin Hanye's calculations. First, he released the ice domain to weaken the old titan's resistance to ice, then he revealed the 100,000-year soul ring and released the ice coffin to distract his attention one after another. Then, when the old titan broke open the ice coffin, he released the ice realm to disrupt the old titan's senses, and took the opportunity to use the 5th soul skill phantom to create a clone that was exactly the same as the original body, and buried the clone in a 10,000-year ice prison. Acting as a trap, his real body was hidden, releasing ice spikes to attack the old titan while accumulating power for a big move. Under this chain of attacks and calculations, let alone a mere soul Douluo, even an ordinary titled Douluo would not dare to guarantee that he would be safe and sound. It's time to go to the Strength Clan. Lin Hanye put away the soul bone swift ice bird and landed in front of the two people. What are you going to do? Ling Yuan asked. As a family, of course we have to be neat and tidy. In front of Ling Yuan and Shao Xian, Lin Hanye changed into black clothes, put on a firefox mask, and carried a narrow knife on his back. I'm going to. Ling Yuan's eyes lit up. She was not a good person. She was known for her cruelty in the spirit hall and was very keen on destruction. When he heard that Lin Hanye was going to destroy the Strength Clan, her blood immediately boiled. End of this chapter, 8 Chapter 86, Chapter 86, Murder and Looting Chapter 86, Murder and looting you can, but you can't use your martial spirit, and you can't set fires, otherwise it will make too much noise and easily attract other people's attention. Lin Hanye was still very wary of the current Clear Sky sect, so he instructed Ling Yuan. If that's the case, then how can I be left out? Xiao Xian also volunteered. Although he was not a bloodthirsty person, since the other party had come to kill him, don't blame him for being cruel. Okay, I'll leave the finishing and looting work to you. Lin Hanye said to Xiao Xian with a smile. As soon as he said this, Xiao Xian immediately regretted it. It would be fine if he just finished off the enemy, but if he looted, wouldn't that mean he would be touching the corpse? The residence of the Strength clan is located in the south of Tiandu City. The mansion covers a large area, and its thick and tall walls are over 4 meters high, making it difficult for outsiders to know what is going on inside. This high wall provided great convenience for Lin Hanye and the other two. It was a dark and windy night. Under the beautiful full moon, Lin Hanye and the other two suddenly appeared on a high platform near the Strength clan. Out of caution, he asked Ling Yuan, who had the strongest mental power, to sense the situation of the Li clan. There are 3 soul emperors, 28 soul sect, and 78 soul masters below level 40. As for those ordinary people who have no soul power, I will not go into details. Ling Yuan told Lin Hanye what she had sensed with her mental power. Why are there so few people? Xiao Xian was very surprised. You know, the Strength clan is one of the 4 affiliated sects of the Clear Sky sect after all. How could there be so few people? Ling Yuan explained, of course there are more than just these few people. They are just a part of it. The main members of the clan are all concentrated near the Clear Sky sect in the Star Logo Empire. You can think of this as a branch. As one of the 4 affiliated sects of the Clear Sky sect, the Strength clan is good at casting and often makes some sophisticated weapons and exquisite decorations to sell to the nobles. Naturally, their business is not limited to the Star Logo Empire, but also has a close relationship with the Tiandu Empire. I think the reason why Old Titan came to Tiandu City this time is because of the Soul Master competition. He wants to recruit outstanding Soul Masters, but it is not easy to compete with Clear Sky sect in Star Logo Empire, so he came to Tiandu City. Xiao Xian suddenly realized, and Lin Hanye also vaguely remembered that the Strength clan seemed to have moved to Tiandu City after the Clear Sky sect abandoned them, so he was not surprised. Then let's deal with this group of people now. Old Titan can recognize me, so I think this group of people also know me. We can't let them inform the Clear Sky sect, we must cut the grass and root it out. As for the other group, we will deal with it later. Ling Yuan, you stay in the yard and hide in the dark. If you see powerful tribesmen coming out, kill them immediately. Xiao Xian will follow me and be responsible for searching the corpses. Don't let go of any soul guides, gold cards, money, jewelry, precious metals, etc. Of course, if there are soul bones, it will be even better. Lin Hanye assigned tasks to the 2 of them. Old Titan is a die-hard fan of Tang Hao, and both of them are strength-oriented. Even if he really has spirit bones, he would have contributed them long ago. Ling Yuan rolled her eyes at the sky, still a little worried, not because she was worried about Lin Hanye's strength, but because this was Tiandu City. If something went wrong, it would easily attract the attention of the patrol army. You know, it was still the Soul Master competition period. Patrols in Tiandu City are more rigorous than ever before. Although there won't be anyone so blind as to search these Soul Master families. But if we make a big noise, it will still attract the patrol troops. Why don't you let Senior Ling Yuan go with you? Xiao Xian couldn't help but reveal a worried and uneasy look. After all, this was the first time he had done such a thing as murder and robbery. You are not experts in this. Assassination is a technical job. You just need to do the cleanup for me. In the previous 2 simulations, in the City of Slaughter, Lin Hanye killed many more people than this. As he spoke, he put on a Firefox mask, disappeared from the platform, and appeared again at the door of the Strength clan's mansion. Looking at the 2 guards in front of him as if he were looking at dead people, He secretly said in his heart, I will use the death god domain this time. It will be just right that I can push this matter onto Tang Hao in the future and prepare to conquer the Strength Clan. For Lin Hanye, the 4 single attribute sects of the Clear Sky sect will all be in his pocket in the future, and they will be one of the bases for him to establish the Soul Master Guild. But the Strength Clan is an exception. Because Old Titan is a die-hard fan of Tang Hao. As long as the Old Titan exists, the Strength Clan will be the Slave Clan. But things are different now that the Old Titan is dead. He could totally put the blame on Tang Hao. Even if he didn't kill him, he died because of him. As for the group of people in front of us, it is better to let them follow the Old Titan. If they didn't die, it would be easy for people to associate the Old Titan's death with him. Who said that the Old Titan died chasing him? We can only blame these people for their miserable lives. Who are you and what are you doing here? Guarding the entrance to the mansion were 2 sturdy men from the Strength Clan. Since Lin Hanye was wearing a mask, they did not know that the person in front of them was the Flanders on the wanted order issued by the Clear Sky sect. Seeing Lin Hanye suddenly appear, full of murderous intent, they subconsciously wanted to possess his martial spirit and transform into a powerful gorilla. Kill your people. Lin Hanye didn't say much nonsense. He drew out the narrow knife on his back. With the effect of the flickering technique, every time he took a step, his body would move several feet away. In the blink of an eye, he passed by the position of the 2 members of the Strength Clan and entered the mansion. When he looked back, the 2 members of the Strength Clan were lying in a pool of blood. What followed was an inhumane one-sided massacre. Those members of the Strength Clan didn't even see the shadow of Lin Hanye, and their martial spirits didn't even have time to possess their bodies before they followed in the footsteps of the 2 guards. This little scoundrel is getting more and more powerful. Ling Yuan still stayed on the high platform of the building, looking down at everything below. Seeing Lin Hanye's figure moving as fast as a ghost, she couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Xiao Xian nodded in agreement. Without using his martial spirit, in terms of speed alone, I'm afraid even ordinary title Douluo can't match him. Ling Yuan did not, and then looked at the 2 corpses of the guards with disgust. It is already late at night, although normally few people would visit the Strength Clan. However, if a passerby accidentally passes by, it can easily attract the city defense forces. Immediately, Ling Yuan reluctantly threw the 2 bodies into the mansion, extinguished the lantern at the door, and closed the door. As for Xiao Xian, he began his hard work of searching corpses. It was late at night and most of the Strength Clan members had already gone to bed. As for the very few personnel on duty, they felt that they were in Tiandu City and had the support of the world's #1 sect, so no one dared to attack them. The defense was extremely lax. End of this chapter, Chapter 87, Chapter 87. Chapter 87. After entering the courtyard, Lin Hanye quickly dealt with the guards on duty, and then began to enter each room, killing people along the way. The first to bear the brunt were the Soul Emperors, who were killed as soon as they met. Occasionally, members of the Strength Clan would come out to check out the noise, but they would be quickly dealt with by Ling Yuan. Finally, Lin Hanye arrived at the main building. Who are you? Why did you kill my clan? Looking at the corpses of his tribesmen on the ground, Tainyo was frightened out of his wits. Well, if you want to blame someone, you can only blame your bad luck. Lin Hanye raised his right hand, and without releasing his martial soul and soul ring, a whooshing sound was heard, and the sharp frost sword energy shot out and sank into Tainyo's throat. Tainyo didn't even have time to scream before he lost consciousness, his pupils dilated, and he lost his life, deader than dead. And Lin Hanye doesn't have to worry about the frost sword energy exposing himself. Because this thing is essentially ice, it will melt quickly after entering the human body. And the scope of destruction is almost zero, it really kills people invisibly. 10 minutes later, Lin Hanye visited every room of the Strength Clan. At this time, Ling Yuan also dealt with those guys who tried to escape. The three of them met in the Strength Clan's meeting hall. "How's the situation over there?" Lin Hanye asked. "Everyone who left the room was cleaned up by me." Ling Yuan felt a little unsatisfied. If possible, she really wanted to use her 8th soul skill and everything early. "I have also collected several soul guides and a lot of wealth. There are more than a dozen gold cards. Now we are rich." Xiao Xian raised the package in his hand. It contained soul guides, and the soul guides contain the wealth left by the Strength Clan here. In addition, I also found this from the Strength Clan's treasure house. Xiao Xian took out a soul bone from his storage soul guide. This is a left arm bone. It is earthy yellow in color. Although it is not very complete, its quality is extremely extraordinary, at least 30,000 years old. There really is a soul bone. Ling Yuan was very surprised. But that was all. Because this soul bone was obviously a strength type, which was not suitable for her, and she already had 2 soul bones. The worst right arm bone is of no less quality than this one, and it is also the most suitable fire attribute soul bone for her. Granted her the Phoenix Flame Burst attribute. I found it from the soul guide of the corpse in that room. Xiao Xian pointed to Tainyo's room. That's the room of old Titan's son. I think it's where old Titan's 8th soul ring exploded, and he was going to contribute it to the clear SKT sect. No, to be more precise, it was contributed to Tang Hao, worthy of being a member of the Strength Clan. This is a strength soul bone, not suitable for the 3 of us. You put it away first, and the gold cards are all numbered, so keep them for now." Lin Hanye was still a little worried, and said to Ling Yuan, "Your mental power is stronger than mine. Sense again, is there anyone hiding?" Ling Yuan shook her head. "I have already checked it out." "In that case, let's go." Lin Hanye nodded. A few days later, the news had spread. The branch of the Strength Clan, one of the 4 affiliated sects of the clear SKT sect, the number 1 sect in the world, was destroyed. The clan leader Old Titan disappeared, and the branch was looted, shocking the world of Soul Masters. Even the Soul Master competition matches were suspended. The first to arrive at the scene were naturally the 3 groups of people from the Tiandu royal family, the 7 treasures glazed tile sect, and the Spirit Hall who were in Tiandu city. Tiandu Empire's Crown Prince Shuiye, together with the 4th Prince Shuixing, 7 treasures glazed sect's young master Ning Fengzi, 7 treasures glazed sect's protector Douluo Chen Xian, Spirit Hall Saint Bibi Dong, Platinum Bishop Salas, and the 2 soul Douluos Jugui were present at the scene. At this time, the Strength Clan territory was littered with corpses and the stench was overwhelming. Outside the mansion, the crowd was full of onlookers, and a huge semicircle was formed by the royal knights of the Tiandu Empire. Shuiye, Shuixing, Ning Fengzi, Bibi Dong and Salas stood quietly in a semicircle, listening quietly to the coroner's report. No one knew what they were thinking. From the wounds, it can be seen that there were 3 people who did it, using narrow knives, short swords, and flesh palms. Most of them were killed by narrow knives and sword energy, and they had no power to resist. They didn't even have time to release their martial spirits before their necks were slashed or their heads were pierced. Some people had their heads smashed or their necks crushed by flesh palms, and then they were stabbed with short swords. The means were extremely cruel. According to the speculation of our 7 coroners, we unanimously determined that the murderers were the holders of narrow knife martial spirits, short sword martial spirits, and bear martial spirits, and all of them were at the soul saint level or above. Because Lin Hanye and the other 2 did not use their martial spirits from beginning to end. The martial spirits in Douluo Continent are so strange and bizarre that they were misled. Moreover, even if they racked their brains, they would never have imagined that among the attractive people, there would be a freak like Lin Hanye and a titled Douluo. After listening to the report, Ning Fengzi and Shuiye looked at each other, while Bibi Dong kept her eyes closed from beginning to end. None of the three expressed any opinions. A moment later, Sword Douluo and Ju and Gui walked out of the Strength Clan's mansion. The three people's investigation results were similar to the report, but Sword Douluo uttered 4 words in a shocking way: Death God Domain. Read new FIC in my profile. BTTH, I have 5 attribute Chi Palace. End of this chapter. Chapter 88, Chapter 88, they were killed because of Tang Hao. Chapter 88, they were killed because of Tang Hao. When these words were spoken, everyone present was shocked except Bibi Dong, who knew the truth. Uncle Jian, are you saying that they were killed by someone who possessed the domain of the god of death? Ning Fengzi asked in surprise. That should be it. Those whose necks were slashed by the narrow knife, without exception, all have a faint murderous aura on their bodies. To be able to increase the murderous aura to this level and transform it into actual harm to others, only the deep god domain can do it. Jian Douluo said. As far as I know, there are only 2 people in the current Soul Master world who have obtained the Death God domain. One is Clear Sky Douluo, and the other is Tang Hao. Bibi Dong finally opened her beautiful eyes and guided everyone. Impossible. Their martial spirits are Clear Sky Hammer, not narrow swords. Moreover, they have no reason to do so, and they would not be stupid enough to attack their affiliated sections. Although he really wanted to put the blame on the Spirit Hall and let the 2 most powerful forces in the Spirit Master world today, the Spirit Hall and the Clear Sky sect, fight each other so that the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect could benefit from it, but at this time, because of the good relationship between Tang Chen and Jian Daoliu, the Clear SKT sect and the Spirit Hall were in a honeymoon period, so Ning Fengzi didn't want to put the blame on the Spirit Hall. Bibi Dong certainly knew that the statement that Tang Chen and Tang Hao destroyed a branch of the Strength Clan was not credible, but as long as their deaths were linked to the Clear Sky sect, it would be fine. I didn't say it was them. As she spoke, she looked at the Platinum Bishop Salas beside her. Salas understood, maybe Tang Hao offended someone in Slaughter City. After escaping Slaughter City, that person didn't dare to seek revenge at Clear Sky sect, nor did he dare to invade the 4 major single attribute sects stationed near Clear Sky sect. He took out his anger on the Strength Clan branch and killed and robbed them. Once these words were spoken, they were undoubtedly recognized by the vast majority of people present, including Shueya and Ning Fengzi. Because the inherent impression Tang Hao gives people is that he is domineering and overbearing, and he often hits anyone he is unhappy with. It is no exaggeration to say that Clear Sky sect often makes enemies everywhere. However, due to their talents and status, those who are beaten often dare not speak out. Xue Xing, as Xue Yi's lackey, knew that his brother had long been dissatisfied with the Clear Sky sect's support for the Star Logo Empire, and said sarcastically, "The Strength Clan is really pitiful. They are loyal to the Clear Sky sect, and the clan leader Titan even worshipped Tang Hao as their master. In the end, they ended up being the target of anger. Even their clan leader has disappeared without any news that he's alive or dead. Xue Xing, don't make any rash conclusions before the truth is revealed." Shueya secretly gave Xue Xing a thumbs up in his heart, but for the sake of his personal image and the desire to not let the Tiandu Empire and the Clear Sky sect become enemies, he still scolded Xue Xing. "Yes, my brother." Xue Xing knew that Shueya was not really angry, so he curled his lips and spoke perfunctory. Shueya glanced at everyone present and said, "This palace feels deeply saddened that such a tragedy happened in Tiandu City. The Empire will definitely do its best to catch the murderer and give justice to the Strength Clan. However, the most urgent task is to pass this matter to the members of the Clear Sky sect." Ning Fengzi was also happy to see the Clear Sky sect lose a leader of a subsidiary sect. He said righteously, "Your Highness, I have ordered the disciples of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect to go and inform them." "Well, then I'll trouble you, young sect master." "Xue Xing, I'll leave the matter of collecting the remains of the Strength Clan to you. Don't rush to bury them. Wait until the Clear Sky sect and the Strength Clan send someone to come. It will also be convenient for them to find out the truth. In addition, considering the current situation of the Strength Clan, out of humanitarianism, as a member of the Soul Master Competition Committee, I propose to postpone the promotion competition for 3 days. I wonder what Her Highness the Saint and Bishop Salas think. It has to be said that Shui Ye, as the Crown Prince of the Tiandu Empire and who will become the Emperor in the future, is still quite shrewd. Although he is very dissatisfied with the clear SKT sect's support for the Star Logo Empire, he is particularly wary of the Spirit Master forces like the Spirit Hall that are not under the control of the Empire. But he would not show it, nor would he offend the other party. At the same time, he also gave the Spirit Hall a great deal of respect. Upon hearing this, Salas did not answer directly, but looked at Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong said, "My Spirit Hall, have no objection." After saying that, she did not forget to send a message to Salas with soul power, "Let someone spread the news that the Strength Clan was slaughtered because of Tang Hao." 7 days later, people from the main Strength Clan and the Clearsky sect came. The leader of the Strength Clan was a Titan uncle, a clan elder at the Soul Saint level. Those who came from Clear Sky sect included the second elder Tang Bai and the second generation disciple Tang Xiao, as well as a dozen direct disciples at the Soul King level. Sect Master Tang Wei did not come because he was in the Star Logo Empire hosting the Soul Master competition with the Star Logo Empire Emperor. Tang Hao was in seclusion to break through the bottleneck of level 70, and in order to prevent his soul power from being caught up by the Spirit Hall Saint Bibi Dong. Clear Sky sect did not allow anyone to disturb him, so he did not come. In addition to these people, the patriarchs of the other 3 affiliated sects defense, speed, breaking were all present. This is really too much. More than 100 direct descendants of the Strength Clan died this time, and even the old gorilla's life or death is unknown. It would have been fine if the sect master didn't come, but Tang Hao as master of the old gorilla, didn't even show up. The old gorilla is really blind. When Yang Wudi, the leader of the Breaking Clan, saw that Tang Hao did not come, he could not help but feel angry and speak up for the Strength Clan. "Old Yang, you misunderstood. Hao didn't come for a reason. He is currently in seclusion to break through the bottleneck of level 70. Bai He, the patriarch of the Speed Clan and Tang Hao's uncle, explained for him." "Old White Bird, I don't like what you said. Seclusion. If he delays for a few days, will he be unable to break through? Does he regard the old gorilla as his own?" Among the 4 single attribute sects, the Defense Clan and the Strength Clan have the best relationship. Upon hearing that Tang Hao did not come because he was in seclusion, the Defense Clan leader Niu Gao was immediately unhappy and immediately followed Yang Wudi and Bai He to quarrel. The 3 of them were talking to each other. The disciples of the Strength Clan were already crying because of the death of their relatives. Hearing their conversation, they felt that the cunning rabbit was dead and the running dog was cooked. "Elder, this Tang Hao is really going too far. As his subordinate, our Strength Clan has encountered such a big incident. We don't know whether our clan leader is alive or dead, but he didn't even show up. Does he treat us as his own people?" A disciple from the Strength Clan said dissatisfiedly. "That's right. On the way here, I heard that most of the tribesmen died in the Death God domain. Before this, apart from Great Elder Tang Chen, only Tang Hao possessed the Death God domain. Although it is unlikely that he did it, it is definitely related to him. Maybe he provoked someone he shouldn't have provoked in the Slaughter City, and after that person obtained the Death God domain, he came here specifically to seek revenge and take it out on my people. I also heard that all the tribesmen were dead because of Tang Hao." The Strength Clan was already somewhat dissatisfied because the Clear Sky sect looked down on the blacksmith technique on which they relied for their livelihood. Now that they saw that Tang Hao, the only one in the Clear Sky sect who did not look down on blacksmith techniques, did not come, all the dissatisfaction in their hearts burst out completely. Read new FIC in my profile. BTTH, I have 5 attribute chi palace. End of this chapter. Chapter 89. Chapter 89. The 4 single attribute sects are collectively raged. Chapter 89. The 4 single attribute sects are collectively raged. Everyone, shut up. The most urgent task is to find the clan leader and the murderer. The elder of the Strength clan, Old Titan's uncle, naturally felt dissatisfied when he saw the actions of the Clear Sky sect, but he knew he could not show it. Not only he couldn't show it, his tribesmen couldn't show it either. Because he knew that the Strength clan could not leave the Clear Sky sect. Now the only one left in the Strength clan is himself, Soul Saint, who is about to enter the ground, and there are not many other members of the clan who can be of great use. If they want to protect the Strength clan and find the clan leader, they still have to rely on the Clear Sky sect. A moment later, Tang Bai and Tang Xiao walked out of the ruins. Only then did the people from the 4 single attribute sects stop discussing. Tang Bai glanced at the people from the 4 single attribute sects and said, I already know about the situation of the Strength clan. Don't worry, my Clear Sky sect will definitely not let these murderers go. My Clear Sky sect will also do its best to find Chief Titan. As for whether they died in the Death God domain, it remains to be confirmed. I hope everyone will not believe the gossip outside, and don't believe everything you hear. Since Hao returned to the sect a year ago, he has never left and has been practicing in the sect with great concentration. He first proved Tang Hao's innocence, then comforted everyone, saying, in addition, when we return to the sect, I will ask the sect master to send these deceased members of the Strength clan to the Clear Sky sect cemetery for burial, so that they can enjoy the glory of the Clear Sky sect for generations to come. Tai Kun, come with me, I have something else I want to know from you. The last sentence was said to the elder of the Strength clan. Hearing this, Tai Kun was delighted, thinking that the Clear Sky sect still remembered their Strength clan. But Tang Bai's next word made him completely angry. After bringing Tai Kun to a clean room of the Strength clan, Tang Bai lowered his voice and asked with a hint of expectation, Tai Kun, you are Titan's uncle. I wonder if Titan gave you anything before he disappeared. Things. Tai Kun looked puzzled. Seeing that Tai Kun didn't understand, Tang Bai stopped playing dumb. Half a month ago, Titan wrote to me saying that after he obtained his 8th soul ring, he found a piece of left arm bone from a 30,000-year-old 1,000-year-old ant soul beast he hunted. He thought it was very suitable for Hao, so he planned to give it to Hao after the Soul Master competition was over. After these words came out, Tai Kun was completely furious, but considering the future of the Strength clan, he suppressed his anger and said, Second Elder, since the clan leader left the family last time to hunt for spirit rings, he has not contacted us again, let alone sent anything. Tang Bai couldn't help but feel a little disappointed when he heard this, and continued to ask, then is there any secret room or hidden compartment in this mansion? After being beaten up by Flanders, Zhao Wuji and other thieves, Tang Hao has been practicing harder than ever before. He even didn't go to watch the Soul Master competition. Everyone in the Clear Sky sect saw it. At the same time, he was also very relieved. Even the great elder Tang Chen praised him for being brave enough to face shame. If he could obtain the soul bone, Tang Hao should be able to break through level 70 faster. According to what Team Tang Bai knew about Old Titan, he would not carry important things like soul bones with him. No, the treasures of the Strength clan have always been stored in the treasury, and you have seen this branch treasury, it has been looted long ago. Tai Kun was shaking with anger. He never expected that in the other party's eyes, the lives of hundreds of people in his Strength clan and the safety of the clan leader were not as important as a mere soul bone. Alas, it seems those thieves are after the soul bones. What a pity. Hearing this, Tang Bai couldn't help but reveal a look of regret on his face. It's a pity that Tang Hao lost such a soul bone that suits him well. Second Elder, the bodies of my people are still warm and need to be buried. I will take my leave now. After Tai Kun finished speaking, he turned around and left the room angrily without waiting for Tang Bai to answer. "Uncle, what did you say to Tai Kun just now?" He seemed very angry. Tai Kun had just left when Tang Xiao walked in with a puzzled look on his face. "Nothing, did you find what I asked you to look for?" Tang Bai waved his hand indifferently. After all, the Strength clan was established with the support of their Clear Sky sect. They were just a vassal. Without the protection of their number one sect in the world, they were nothing. In other words, home slave. Has anyone ever seen a master care about his servant's anger? No, we searched the whole mansion, but these thieves were just plundering everything. They took away even the most valuable things, not to mention the soul bone in the old Titan's letter. Tang Xiao shook his head. What a pity. If Hauer had obtained that soul bone, he would have been almost certain to break through to level 70 before the age of 30. Tang Bai is still bothered by the ant's left arm bone. Tang Xiao was the same. He asked hesitantly. "Second uncle, do you think we should report this to Grandpa?" "That's not right. The Great Elder has already retired from the Soul Master world. How can we disturb his peace for such a small matter? Besides, they are just a few petty thieves. There is no need to alarm the Great Elder. With the sect master and a few of us old guys, we can handle this matter." Tang Bai refused without hesitation. On the other side, Tai Kun has returned to the ruins. The people of the Strength clan are collecting the bodies of their relatives, and the other three single attribute sects are also helping. Seeing Tai Kun's angry look, the three clan leaders and several high-ranking soul emperors surrounded him. "What's wrong with Uncle Kun? Why do you look so angry?" Yang Wudi asked. Since the four single attribute sects had been friends for generations, and Tai Kun was one generation older than Yang Wudi and was also a soul saint, Yang Wudi had always called him Uncle Kun since he was a child. The same is true for Niu Gao, the patriarch of the Breaking clan, and Bai He, the patriarch of the Speed clan. "What's wrong? What's wrong? Do you know why old guy Tang Bai asked me to come just now? He asked me about the soul bone. He asked me where the 30,000-year-old ant's left arm bone that exploded from Titan's 8th soul ring went. He also asked me if Titan had anyone to bring it back to the Strength clan before he disappeared, or if he had hidden it in a secret room or compartment." The disciples of Clearsky sect would not condescend to ask the disciples of the Strength clan to collect the corpses. In the absence of Clear Sky sect disciples, Tai Kun, who had long been unable to suppress his anger, poured out his grievances in front of the disciples of the four single attribute sects. As a result, the disciples of the four single attribute sects were suddenly in an uproar. Everyone looked indignant. Even Bai He, Tang Hao's uncle, didn't know how to talk for a moment. Because what the Clear Sky sect did this time was really too much. It would be fine if he was usually a little harsh on these disciples of the affiliated sects. But at this time, you are still thinking about these things. Aren't you afraid of arousing their anger? End of this chapter, 11 Chapter 90, Chapter 90, Willing to Serve Her Highness Saint Chapter 90, Willing to Serve Her Highness the Saint Tiandu City, Spirit Hall Branch. Bibi Dong sat high on the throne with her legs crossed, her left leg resting on her right leg, one hand gently shaking the wine glass and the other hand holding her cheek. The two Soul Douluo, Huhuguan and Gai Mei, guarded her on both sides like the two generals, looking very majestic, and her temperament of a superior was undoubtedly revealed. The current Platinum Bishop Sala stood 5 meters below the throne, bowed his head and said respectfully, "Your Highness, as you ordered, I have secretly spread the news that Tang Hao caused the Strength clan to suffer. Now the Strength clan has been complaining about the Clear Sky sect, and even the other 3 single attribute sects have complaints about the Clear Sky sect." At this point, he couldn't help but feel a little worried. But in this way, will it damage the relationship between the Clear Sky sect and our Spirit Hall? As you know, the Grand Priest and Clear Sky Douluo have been friends for many years. if the Grand Priest and His Holiness the Pope knew. Do you think the relationship between Clear Sky Sect and Spirit Hall is good? Bibi Dong put down the wine glass and stood up suddenly. She did not summon her martial spirit. Under the astonished gazes of Salas, other two Soul Douluo level masters, she took only one step and moved to the center of the hall more than 10 meters away. Bibi Dong turned her back to the three people, looking at them with a righteous look on her face. Ever since Tang Chen led the Clear Sky Sect to gain the reputation of the world's #1 sect, and the world's #1 weapon spirit, the Clear Sky Sect disciples have become arrogant and look down on any spirit master. They even look down on our spirit hall. I'm sure you all know this without me telling you. It's not been a day or two since those Clear Sky Sect disciples have been so arrogant, especially Tang Hao, who is known as a rare genius in the Clear Sky Sect. He relies on his grandfather Tang Chen and treats our spirit hall as nothing. If we continue like this, sooner or later, the Clear Sky Sect will become the opposite of our spirit hall. Moreover, Tang Hao has been determined to surpass his grandfather, Clear Sky Douluo, since he was a child. He is very ambitious and will never be inferior to others. He will not be content with the current status of being the world's #1 sect. He is eager to lead the Clear Sky Sect to replace our Spirit Hall at any time. And once the Spirit Hall is replaced, do you know what terrible things will happen? Civilians will no longer be able to awaken their martial spirits, and the two empires will no longer pay for subsidies to low-level spirit masters. Without control over spirit masters, they will wantonly hunt and kill spirit beasts for spirit bones. As a result, our descendants will be left with almost no spirit rings to use. The most terrifying thing is that those evil spirit masters who were once eliminated by the Spirit Hall and driven to the Slaughter City will revive without the suppression and deterrence of our Spirit Hall. They may not dare to attack those families with powerful spirit masters and the imperial nobles who are protected by large armies, but they will act recklessly against those civilians who have no ability to fight back. Without the balance of power from the Spirit Hall, the two empires will launch wars recklessly. Civilians will continue to suffer from the chaos of war. Including me, most people in the Spirit Hall are of commoner origin. Even for soul masters like us, the Clear Sky Sect still looks down on us. When the time comes, do you think the Clear Sky Sect will still care about the lives of ordinary people? So for the sake of our teacher, the Pope, the Great Priest, the Spirit Hall, the Great Angel God, and the billions of lives on Douluo Continent, I, as the saint of the Spirit Hall, must take precautions before it happens. While the Clear Sky Sect is not yet strong enough, I will create divisions within it, as long as I can weaken its power and stop its ambition to replace our Spirit Hall. Even if I am punished by the teacher and the chief priest, even if I lose the position of the saint, I, Bibi Dong, will do it at all costs. Although Bibi Dong is a love-brained person and her IQ is close to zero in front of the person she likes, but she has been with Lin Hanye for many years after all. She have learned a lot and understood a lot through observing and listening. After hearing Bibi Dong's words mixed with personal opinions, three of them, who were born as commoners, seemed to have returned to the difficult days before their martial spirits awakened. Then, with the help of the Spirit Hall, they awakened their martial spirit and went through many hardships along the way, among which there were many bitterness that could not be told to outsiders. It is entirely conceivable what kind of situation they would be in now if there was no Spirit Hall. Or you may stay in the mountain village all your life and never get ahead. Or they might become food for those evil soul masters. Or died in war. How could they have the current level of accomplishment and status? Thinking of this, the three of them immediately knelt down on one knee and said in unison, "We are willing to serve Her Highness the Saint." Xiao Lin's words really worked. Bibi Dong was secretly proud of herself, but she remained calm on the surface. She raised her hand and released her soul power to support the three people. She nodded and said, "Please stand up." Bibi Dong is the saint of the Spirit Hall, the disciple of His Holiness the Pope, and the first successor to the next Pope. Naturally, I should consider the interests of the spirit hall. I will explain to my teacher, and you don't need to worry about the chief priest. If the chief priest blames me, I will bear all the responsibility." After hearing what Bibi Dong said, the three of them became even more excited. There is a line in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms that goes, "Today I have met a wise ruler, and it is like seeing the blue sky after the clouds have parted." Although it is a bit exaggerated to use the sentence to describe the mood of Salis and other at the moment. But it's pretty much the same. On the other side, Lin Hanye, who had already returned to the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, learned about what happened in Tiandu City and a surprised smile appeared on his face. "I didn't expect things to be more interesting than I thought." After destroying the Strength Clan branch that day, Lin Hanye went to meet with Bibi Dong and asked her to divert people's attention from the murderer. It would be best if she could lead the matter to Tang Hao, making people think that everything was caused by Tang Hao causing trouble outside. The God of Death domain is a good entry point. In fact, everything turned out just as he expected. In addition to Bibi Dong's instigation, there was also the arrogance of the people from the Clear Sky sect. When Old Titan disappeared and the entire branch of the Strength Clan was wiped out, they didn't care about Old Titan's life or death, nor were they in a hurry to find the real culprit. Instead, they asked for the Ant Soul Bone. They were not afraid of discouraging the four major single attribute sects. Yes, in the original novel, after Tang Hao hammered Qian Sunji to death, they just abandoned them when faced with the Spirit Hall's call for punishment, without even saying hello. How could they really care about the feelings of the affiliated sects? In their eyes, they were just four dogs they raised. Only Old Titan is willing to be treated like a dog, and he is willing to die for his master. End of this chapter, 9 Chapter 91, Chapter 91, The Sixth Simulation Chapter 91, The Sixth Simulation. In the blink of an eye, another month has passed. During this month, Lin Hanye and the other three did not do anything else except the daily required combat training, and they were basically working hard to improve their soul power. On this day, Lu Erlong ran over with a look of joy on her face. "Hanye, I have reached level 60. You reached faster than I expected." A smile appeared on Lin Hanye's face. After 2.5 months of training, his soul power has broken through level 64. When he reaches level 69, he can use the ice dew produced by another 8-angled immortal herb to break through the bottleneck of level 70. The same is true for Lu Erlong. Lin Hanye planned to wait until she reached level 69 before giving her the infernal apricot. "That's right. I have been practicing very hard during this period. You must not go back on your promise to me." Lin Hanye promised Lu Erlong two things. As long as she broke through level 60, he would give her a unique gift. In addition, on the night after Lin Hanye captured Ling Yuan, Lu Erlong sneaked into Lin Hanye's room in the middle of the night and said, "I want to become a real couple with you." At that time, Ling Yuan was playing flute under the table. In order to avoid being discovered and also to encourage Lu Erlong, Lin Hanye promised to eat her after she broke through the bottleneck of level 60. This is also the reason why Lu Erlong is so excited. It's natural. Lin Hanye smiled, shook his wrist, and a ball of fiery red light floated out and went straight towards Lu Erlong. Lu Erlong raised her hand and took the ball of fire into her hand. Suddenly, a strange feeling filled her body and she asked curiously, "What kind of treasure is this? Is it also an artificial spirit ring?" "No, I can't increase the age of the spirit ring to 100,000 years. It's a waste to give it to me. I'd better leave it to you as your 7th spirit ring." She knew about the God-given soul rings, and Lin Hanye didn't have many of them, so she subconsciously wanted to refuse. Lin Hanye said, "I'm not that extravagant, but this thing is just as useful as an artificial spirit ring for you in your current state, and it may even be more powerful. This is because it is the inner elixir of the ancient 10-headed fiery sun snake, which has the most yang fire attribute. It stores most of the energy of the 10-headed fiery sun snake, which is equivalent to about 50,000 years if converted into a spirit ring. Although the 10-headed fiery sun snake is the leader of snakes, it is still a certain distance away from the dragon. With your fire dragon flame, coupled with the unique environment of the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, it is enough to restrain it, which is just right for you. Lu Erlong looked at the inner elixir of the 10-headed fiery sun snake in her hand, then looked at Lin Hanye. Her eyes reddened. Thank you, Hanye, you and my mother are the only ones in this world who treat me the best. Although she didn't know what the 10-headed fiery sun snake was, let alone what the inner elixir was, but as the owner of the fire dragon martial spirit, as soon as she got the inner elixir, she could feel the enormous energy contained in it and the special aura that made her heart palpitate. This is definitely a treasure of inestimable value to any soul master with a fire attribute spirit or a snake attribute spirit. But even such a treasure, Lin Hanye delivered it to her just like the immortal herb before. This instantly moved her, who was already in love, to the point of being confused. Silly girl, if I don't treat you well, who will? Just don't blame me for being unfaithful. Lin Hanye raised his hand and patted her on the head. At this time, Lu Erlong's heart was already numb. How could she care about his infidelity? Besides, even if she cared, what would it matter? Could she really be angry with the other person and blame him? She couldn't bear it. How do I refine this inner elixir? Do I have to crush it like an artificial spirit ring and absorb the energy inside? Lu Erlong asked. Since it is an inner elixir, then of course it should be swallowed, but to be on the safe side, some preparations still need to be made. Lin Hanye said. After a while, under Lin Hanye's arrangement, Xiao Xian made her some candy beans that could improve the various attributes of a soul master. Then he said Lu Erlong to sit cross-legged at the extremely cold end of the yin-yang eyes to ease the fiery and violent energy contained in the inner elixir. Yin released the blue-silver domain to assist her and heal her at any time, preventing the damage to her body caused by the energy of the 10-headed fiery sun snake. Lin Hanye was worried that Lu Erlong's clothes would be burned by the inner elixir energy, so he asked Xiao Xian to go back to his room to practice. He used his second soul skill, Mysterious Ice Formation, to create a huge ice barrier, which he modified so that people outside could not see inside, but people inside could see outside, covering him, Yin, and Lu Erlong. The original ice realm was only 1.5 meters long and wide, and 2 meters high. Now, with Lin Hanye's soul power constantly increasing, its volume has increased nearly 5 times. The three of them staying inside are like a small secret room. After doing all this, Lin Hanye allowed her to swallow the inner elixir safely and absorb and refine it. In fact, Lin Hanye's choice was correct. Although Lu Erlong's physical fitness is already sufficient to withstand a 50,000-year spirit ring, the energy of the 10-headed fiery sun snake's inner elixir is much more powerful than most 50,000-year spirit ring energies. This caused Lu Erlong to suffer a great deal of trouble. Her body almost collapsed and she burned herself to death. Fortunately, with the suppression of the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, and Lin Hanye's ultimate ice, and Yin's continued treatment on the side, Lu Erlong was able to survive without any danger. Seeing that Lu Erlong's condition has almost stabilized, even if it is forcibly interrupted at this time, it will not be a big deal. At most, she will be weak for a while. Lin Hanye opened a hole in the barrier and turned to Yin and said, Yin, Erlong is fine now. You continue to look after her here. I have something to do and will go back to my room. Well, go ahead. Yin was still so considerate. Returning to the wooden house where he lived, Lin Hanye locked the door and began the simulation. The reason why he didn't simulate after breaking through level 60 was for now, to test whether the soul ring that was closely related to him would enter the simulated life with him when they absorbed the soul ring. 10 years in simulation, but only half an hour in reality. During the simulation, Lin Hanye hid as usual, and only came out after Yin entered the mature period. After that, he led Bibi Dong, who had broken out of the city of slaughter, Ling Yuan and others, and a few companions to go out to sea to hunt soul beasts. He used the immortal herb to attract 100,000-year-old sea soul beasts for hunting. Only after he was promoted to titled Douluo did he start to make plans. If he have to describe everything that happened during this period in one word, it would be thrilling. Half an hour later, Lin Hanye slowly opened his eyes, and several lines of text that only he could see appeared in front of him. Simulation ends. Please choose the reward. Bo Sixi Bra, God-given spirit ring, 100,000-year-old soft bone rabbit right leg bone, 100,000-year-old soft bone rabbit spirit ring, 1,000,000-year-old Tianmeng eye silkworm. End of this chapter, Chapter 92, Chapter 92, Final Chapter 92, Final. Among the 5 options, the so-called Bo Sixi's bra naturally refers to the one worn by sea god high priest Bo Sixi. The God-given soul ring was obtained by Lin Hanye from the sea god island when he participated in the divine test in order to obtain a powerful enough 9th soul skill. The 100,000-year soft bone soul ring soul bone comes from Xiao Wu's mother, an important chess piece in Lin Hanye's plan to plot against Tang Hao and Qian Sunji. Lin Hanye didn't deliberately look for the million-year-old Tianmeng eye silkworm. He encountered it by chance when he was planning for Tang Hao. When the other party first arrived at the Star Do Great Forest, he was chased by the beast. As a result, Lin Hanye got the advantage. Lin Hanye. During the simulation. After breaking through level 90, in order to obtain a powerful 9th soul skill, Lin Hanye lied and had participated in the divine examination and joined the Sea God Island. As expected, because he did not have the vast sea universe cover, he could only start the red level 8 test and was unable to leave the Sea God Island. After completing the test, he changed his mind and was chased by Bo Sixi. During the battle, Lin Hanye accidentally took off the opponent's bra. Thinking of this, Lin Hanye's old face turned red, and he couldn't help but miss that scene. Although it was only for a moment, and it was blocked by the other party using his soul power to condense a new bra, but it's true, Bo Sixi's sunny side is really beautiful. Please select 2 of them. Not choosing yet. If I had to choose, the first choices would definitely be the God-given soul ring or the million-year-old eye silkworm. The second is the right leg bone of a 100,000-year-old soft bone rabbit. But now is not the time yet. I can take these things at any time, as long as I do it before obtaining the 7th soul ring. As for the 100,000-year soft bone rabbit spirit ring, it is indeed a bit underrated and is unnecessary. Just when he was thinking, hurried footsteps were heard outside the room, followed by someone knocking on the door. There was no need to guess, from the sound of her footsteps, Lin Hanye recognized she was Lu Erlong. Lin Hanye stood up and opened the door. Without saying a word, Lu Erlong came up, pushed Lin Hanye against the pillar of the wooden house, and kissed him. Lin Hanye was stunned for a moment, then a knowing smile appeared on his face and he did not resist. 10 minutes later. Lip parting. A crystal clear crystal thread broke. Lu Erlong leaned on Lin Hanye's shoulder with rapid breathing, her beautiful face already flushed. She buried her pretty face deeply in Lin Hanye's arms, her eyes slightly red. What's wrong? Feeling the softness in front of him and the faint body fragrance entering his nose, although Lin Hanye already had some guesses in his heart, he still asked with a smile. I just had a dream, a very long dream. I dreamed that we had been separated for several years, and when I woke up, you still hadn't come back. Lu Erlong hugged Lin Hanye's neck with her arms, and couldn't help but increase the strength a little more. Her voice had become a little hoarse due to sobbing. Is it just a dream? It seems that Erlong's experience is not as real as Dong Er's. Is it really because of the acacia heartbroken red? Lin Hanye guessed in his heart. He suddenly realized that there were still many aspects of this life simulation system that he had not yet explored. At this time, Yin appeared at the door of the wooden house. She was stunned to see the two people hugging each other. Half an hour ago, Lu Erlong had already absorbed the sixth soul ring, but suddenly fell into a coma shortly after Lin Hanye left. In the past, falling into a coma while absorbing a spirit ring would definitely be a very dangerous thing. But fortunately, Lu Erlong's soul ring had been completely absorbed by then. It was just not yet completely stabilized. It was not a big deal, just rest for a while. After she saw that Lu Erlong was fine, she did not rush to disturb Lin Hanye, but just sent Lu Erlong back to her cabin to take care of her. Who would have thought that as soon as she woke up, she suddenly ran to the wooden house where Lin Hanye lived, and then this scene happened. Yin, you're here. Lin Hanye looked at Yin, but did not let go of Lu Erlong. Lu Erlong also noticed her and also chose not to let go of Lin Hanye. Seeing the intimacy between the two, Yin felt a little embarrassed, and at the same time, there was a trace of imperceptible loss. Did I come at the wrong time? Lin Hanye was stunned for a moment, loosened one of his hands that was holding Lu Erlong, moved half of his body away, and said to her, "No, you came at the right time." Yin's face lit up with joy, and she stepped forward and hugged the other half of Lin Hanye's arms. But she will soon regret it. Looking at the two beauties who had grown into stunning beauties, Lin Hanye showed a faint smile on his face. "Erlong, Yin, it's time." "What?" Both girls were stunned and looked at him in surprise. He. Lin Hanye put his hands above the abdomen of the two men. "Ah!" Feeling Lin Hanye's mischievous hand, the two girls screamed at the same time, their pretty faces flushed red. The two were so shy that they almost wanted to find a hole to crawl into. If it was only one of them, they would not hesitate. After all, Lin Hanye was the man they had chosen for their whole life. They had done even more outrageous things. But now putting the two of them together would be very embarrassing. Even with Lu Erlong's generous personality, she couldn't help but retreat. "Hanye, why don't I go out first?" Yin's words were blocked by Lin Hanye before she could finish them. As for Lu Erlong, Lin Hanye didn't plan to let her go. The battle lasted until late at night. Looking at his two girlfriends who fell asleep in his arms because of the intense battle, and the two plum blossoms on the bed sheet, Lin Hanye's mouth corners slightly raised, slowly closed his eyes, and fell asleep. And just when Lin Hanye was enjoying the happiness of having many wives, the first continent-wide Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite competition has finally come to an end. The two teams that entered the finals were none other than the Spirit Hall Academy team and the Clear Sky team. Needless to say, the Spirit Hall Academy team comes from the Spirit Hall, the Spirit Hall Academy. But the Clear Sky team is different. Because strictly speaking, this can't really be called an academy. They don't even recruit students from outside, not even a single disciple from the 4 affiliated sects. They registered in this academy just to win the Soul Master competition and give their Clear Sky sect's most outstanding disciple Tang Hao the 60,000-year-old Spirit Immune Skull as a championship reward. Those 7 disciples who should stay in the sect to practice are still practicing in the sect. It's just one more name. The only slight difference was that this was the first and only time that the two teams met in the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite competition, and the participants were not the 7 Spirit Hall team members who had participated in the competition in the past. But it was Bibi Dong. End of this chapter, 8 Chapter 93, Chapter 93, Bibi Dong BS7 Chapter 93, Bibi Dong BS7 The sun brings a golden glow to the Pope's palace. There are 6 positions on the platform closest to the gate in the square in front of the Pope's palace. Pope Ji and Sun Ji and Clear Sky sect leader Tang Wei were seated. One as the head of the most powerful Soul Master organization in the Soul Master world, and the other as the leader of the world's #1 sect, naturally occupy a central position. The two Pope's personal guardians, Jin Zhong and Yin Chui, were on the left, while the 7 treasures glazed sect's leader Ning Daorong and the sect's guardian ghost Douluo were on the right. 6 people sat side by side. This should have been something to be happy about. But at this moment, Clear Sky Sect's leader Tang Wei frowned. Because on the fighting spirit arena in front of them, the 7 members of the Clear Sky team have already appeared. But their opponents, the Spirit Hall Academy, only have one person on the field, the Spirit Hall Saint, the youngest Spirit Emperor in Douluo Continent, Bibi Dong. Your Holiness, what does this mean? With Bibi Dong, the sole Emperor, around, Tang Wei thought his sect's team had little hope of winning before the game started. But that was based on the situation where Bibi Dong joined forces with the other 6 strongest members of the Spirit Hall Academy team. Now the Spirit Hall only allowed Bibi Dong to play. Was this an act of contempt for the Clear Sky Sect #1 weapon spirit in the world? What do you mean? Compared to the angry Tang Wei, Qin Sunji seemed calm. The Spirit Hall only sent the Saint Girl to the stage to insult our Clear Sky Sect. Tang Wei said angrily. First, the branch of the Strength clan was destroyed, and the clan leader Old Titan disappeared without a trace, causing Hauer to lose a piece of the ant's left arm bone that was extremely suitable for him. Then, the Spirit Hall was so arrogant. This made it impossible for Tang Wei to suppress his inner anger. Master Tang, you are too polite. You and I are very familiar with the rules of the Soul Master competition. The rules of the team competition stipulate that no more than 7 players can be on the field, but there is no rule that no less than 7 players can be on the field. This does not violate the rules. If Master Tang feels that it is inappropriate for only the Saint Girl to participate and it is an insult to the Clear Sky Sect, then your sect can just send one person. I will not mind. Qin Sunji remained calm on the surface, but he was sneering in his heart. He is not his father Jian Daoliu. He had no good feelings towards the Clear Sky Sect and even felt that it was an obstacle to his achievement of hegemony. Especially after hearing from 2 Douluos what Bibi Dong said in the branch of the Spirit Hall in Tiandu City, he agreed with it even more. At this moment, he regarded the Clear Sky Sect as a thorn in his side. If Tang Chen hadn't been there, he would have found an opportunity to attack the Clear Sky Sect long ago. Even if there is no reason, it will secretly weaken the power of the Clear Sky Sect. Now that Tang Wei, the leader of a mere master of sect, is on equal footing with him, the Pope whose status is comparable to that of the emperors of the 2 empires, Qian Sunji is even more convinced of Bibi Dong's words that Clear Sky Sect can't wait to replace Spirit Hall at any time. Okay, in that case, I hope your holiness will not regret it later. Although Tang Wei was so angry that he was shaking all over, he was not stupid enough to let only one disciple compete with Bibi Dong on the stage. Tang Zhan, who had the highest soul power among the 7, only had soul power at level 48. For a soul sect leader like him to fight against Bibi Dong, a soul emperor who had broken through to level 60 more than a year and a half ago, isn't that a gift? No matter how conceited he is, or how confident he is in the Clear Sky Hammer, he won't be so stupid. On the contrary, as long as the Clear Sky team defeats Bibi Dong, Hauer will not only get a top-grade Wisdom Skull, but also regain all the lost face of the Clear Sky Sect. Ning Daorong and Gurong, who were sitting on the left side of Tang Wei, saw all of this and smiled at each other. It was obvious that they were happy to see the discord between the 2 families, because only in this way could their 7 treasures glazed tile sect fish in troubled waters. Do you really think that you can be invincible after breaking through to the Soul Emperor level? You really underestimate the world's #1 weapon spirit of my Clear Sky Sect. At most, your spirit power is only level 64 or 65. With the strength of the 7 of us, let alone the Soul Emperor, even the Soul Saint may not be our opponent. The captain of the Clear Sky team looked at Bibi Dong opposite him and sneered in his heart. The other 6 people also glared at her. The defeat in Golden City 5 years ago was a huge blow to them and caused them to fall into despair for a time. But they quickly came out of it and learned from their mistakes. Not only did they break through to the Soul Sect level 1 by 1, They also learned the killer move specifically for dealing with the Spirit Hall Academy, the Clear Sky Formation. The opponent's unique skills would not be their match. Even the Clear Sky Formation does not need to be used, the cooperation among the 7 people is enough. On the other hand, compared to the indignation of the Clear Sky sect, Bibi Dong's expression was much calmer. There was no trace of expression on her nearly perfect face. From the beginning to the end, the 7 people in front of her were not on the same level as her. At that time, Xiao Linzi, who was at the level of a great soul master, could easily defeat 7 people at the level of a soul lord. Now her soul power is almost 20 levels higher than that of this group of people, and she has also learned the true teachings of Xiao Linzi. If she still loses, she might as well just kill herself by hitting her head against a wall. The game is ready. Both sides can release their martial spirits. The cardinal who acted as the referee immediately announced it after consulting Pope Kingsunji. The 2 sides looked at each other and no one spoke, but the violent collision of auras instantly raised the tension to the limit. At this moment, even Qian Sunji, Tang Wei, and other all looked over. Focus completely on this game. The 7 members of the Clear Sky Academy team moved almost at the same time. Black light surged in their hands, summoning clear sky hammers of different colors. At the same time, surging soul power burst out from their bodies instantly. The best soul ring configuration of 4 soul rings, 2 yellow and 2 purple. Judging from the fluctuations in the soul power of these 7 people, the one with the highest soul power is undoubtedly Tang Zhan, the captain, who has reached level 48. Tang Jin and Tang Xiang are next, at level 46. The 3 brothers Feng, Yun, and Chuang are level 45. Tang Lang's soul power is still the lowest, but it is also level 43. With the advantage of all the members being soul sect, they easily defeated the 5 Elements Academy, the Tiandi Royal Academy which had only 5 soul sect and the Star Loto Royal Academy which had 6 soul sect, and advanced to the finals in one fell swoop. After releasing their martial spirits, the 7 people formed a formation and stood. In the front were Tang Zhan, Tang Jin, and Tang Xiang, followed by the 3 brothers Feng Yun and Chuang, and Tang Lang stood at the end. They formed a 3-3-1 formation. At the same time as they took their positions, Bibi Dong also began to release her martial spirit. A faint purple-black light shone through her body. Without any visible changes in her body, 6 spirit rings were released in an orderly manner, yellow, yellow, purple, black, black, and black. It wraps around the body, emitting a dazzling light. End of the chapter, 8 Chapter 94, Chapter 95. Chapter 95. Tang Wei was speechless, because most of the members of Tiandi Royal Academy had participated in the soul fighting in the Golden City Great Soul Fighting Arena 5 years ago. The Clear Sky sect hated Lin Hanye's disguised Ice Emperor to the core and even secretly issued a killing order. But unfortunately, there has been no news for 5 years, as if the other party has disappeared from the world. Therefore, when they couldn't find Lin Hanye, they took out their anger on the Tiandi Royal Academy where Xieming, Hu Mei, Zhu Xian, Li Binjian, and others who participated in the soul fight were. Ning Keichan was a supporting soul master, and the 7 treasures glazed sect behind him was quite powerful, so that didn't want to offend too much, so he escaped. The rest of the people were hit so hard that their bones and tendons were broken, it was a horrible sight. If the Soul Master competition had not explicitly prohibited killing, it would have been a question whether they could survive. Of course, when seeing this scene, Tang Wei not only did not feel anything, but was happy that Tang Zhan and others could avenge their previous shame. It greatly enhanced the reputation of the Clear Sky sect. Now that Bibi Dong has brought up the matter, no matter how thick-skinned he is speechless. Bibi Dong continued to talk and said, "It's not possible that you want to say I can hit you but you can't hit me. You are too cruel. If you can't afford to lose, you can just say it. I don't think anyone will laugh at them. After all, they are disciples of the world's #1 sect. If anyone dares to say it, just pick up the hammer and hit him. However, I still suggest that your sect should not send anyone to participate in the Soul Master competition in the future, nor go to any soul fighting arena, let alone travel in the Soul Master world. Just stay in the sect and be the #1 disciple in the world, hold the #1 weapon spirit in the world, and enjoy the glory of being the #1 disciple in the world. Because once you leave the Clear Sky sect, not everyone will pamper you. Be careful that you might offend some ruthless person one day. Not only will you lose your own life, but you will also implicate the affiliated section. After listening to Bibi Dong's words, Tang Wei knew that she was referring to the extermination of the Strength Clan branch in Tiandu City a month and a half ago. He was so angry that his body trembled instantly. But the opponent is the Spirit Hall, which is too powerful and has a peerless Douluo like his father. Otherwise, if someone else dared to speak to him like this, he would already hit her back and that would be the end of it. The rest of the audience could also hear the tension between the two sides, but anyone with a discerning eye could see that the Clear Sky sect was already at a disadvantage. Because Bibi Dong was telling the truth. When one side is as powerful as the other, or even stronger, facts speak louder than words. No matter how domineering the Clear Sky sect is, it cannot distort the facts in front of everyone. Tiandu Empire's Crown Prince Shuiye, who was sitting with Ning Fengzi, was extremely happy to see the Clear Sky sect, which had always supported the Star Luo Empire, being so humiliated. Of course, he would not show it. To him, the more violent the fight between the Clear Sky sect and the Spirit Hall, the more stable his Tiandu Empire would be. Knowing that he was not right, Tang Wei turned to Qin Xun and said, "Your Holiness, please forgive me for speaking frankly. Your disciple has talent and strength, but her nature is really not that good. She is so cruel and ruthless. It is inevitable that he will bring disaster to the Spirit Hall in the future. When it comes to ruthlessness, I am far inferior to you, but at least I know my limits." Qian Sunji said this without waiting for Tang Wei to reply. He stepped forward and announced that the Spirit Hall Academy had won the championship of the first Continental Spirit Master competition. The mentally immune skull, which was awarded as a championship reward, naturally fell into Bibi Dong's hands. It was originally prepared for her by Qin Sunji. With this, the first Continental Soul Master Academy elite competition came to a successful conclusion. As for the Clear Sky sect, there is no doubt that it has become the biggest loser in this Soul Master competition. Not only was the entire team defeated in seconds by Bibi Dong, who was 4 or 5 years younger than them. Bibi Dong also secretly sucked away some of theirs vitality, so they was bound to fall seriously ill after returning. In the end, they ended up with the same ending as the original Spirit Hall team, whose vitality was sucked away by Tang San and whose talents were greatly reduced. Hall of Elders. This is the largest building in Spirit City except for the Pope's Palace, and it also represents the most powerful force of the entire Spirit Hall. Inside the tall dome building, there is a wide hall as soon as you enter the door. The dome is nearly 10 feet high and is divided into 4 floors. There are no rooms on the first floor, and starting from the second floor, there are 10 rooms on each floor. Except for extremely special circumstances, only those with soul power above level 90 and the strength of a titled Douluo are qualified to stay here. It is the highest authority in the Spirit Hall. Even Pope Qian Sunji is subject to its constraints. Ultimately it's a question of strength. Especially the 7 priests living on the top floor. Any one of them, no matter how powerful they are, is stronger than the Pope. Because they are all peerless Douluo whose soul power level has reached at least level 96. At this time, the Elders' Hall was silent, without even a little sound. The guards were nowhere to be seen. And it is at the innermost part of this huge hall. In front of a 6-winged angel statue that was more than 10 meters tall, a person stood quietly. He had his back to the gate, and his hands were clasped together in a prayer posture, facing the 6-winged angel statue. From the back, he looked like a middle-aged man. He is tall but not muscular, with shoulder armor in the shape of a six-winged angel, and a dark blue robe and cape. His long golden hair is scattered behind his head and combed very neatly. It gives people a very strange feeling. It seemed as if all the sunlight pouring into the hall from the huge windows around him was focused on him alone. Just by standing there, the figure seemed to be infinitely magnified, as if it had become the center of the elders' hall, giving people an irresistible feeling of bowing down in worship. After a moment, the door of the elders' hall slowly opened. Qian Sunji appeared at the door with his two personal guardians, Jinzhong and Yin Chui, and a dozen cardinals. He waved his hand, walked in alone, and the door closed again. "Father." Qingxun walked quickly to the center of the hall. No matter how arrogant and conceited he was, he still knelt on one knee and saluted respectfully when facing the middle-aged man in front of him. The middle-aged man still had no intention of turning around. He just prayed quietly in front of the huge six-winged angel statue in front of him. After a while, he just turned around, revealing a handsome face that was 3 or 4 points similar to Qingxunji. "Ji, you are here. The Soul Master competition was well organized, and you are finally worthy of the title of the Pope of the Spirit Hall. However, it is really inappropriate for your disciple to make enemies with the Clear Sky sect for no reason." "Father, what Clear Sky sect?" Qian Daoliu waved his hand without waiting for Qian Sunji to explain to Bibi Dong. He did not really mean to blame Bibi Dong. "You don't have to explain. Although I have given my old friend Tang Chen some face this time, his juniors have indeed been a bit presumptuous in recent years. I don't really mean to blame your disciple." The middle-aged man was none other than Qian Daoliu, the great priest of the Spirit Hall and the previous generation of Angel Douluo. Together with Tang Chen, they were known as the two insurmountable mountains in the Spirit Master world. End of this chapter. For Chapter 95, Chapter 94, Can't Afford to Lose, Old Tradition. Chapter 94, Can't Afford to Lose, Old Tradition. The fourth ring of 10,000 years. When the fourth Black Soul Ring appeared, except for those from the Spirit Hall who already knew about it, the expressions of those from other forces all became solemn. Although everyone had heard that the Spirit Hall Saint's fourth soul ring was 10,000 years old, they still couldn't help being shocked when they saw with their own eyes that Bibi Dong actually possessed a fourth soul ring that was 10,000 years old. Since the fourth soul ring is 10,000 years old, then the fifth soul ring must be 20,000 years old, the sixth soul ring 40,000 years, or even 50,000 years old. The most important thing is the opponent's age, 20 years old. Thinking of this, everyone seemed to have vaguely seen that the Spirit Hall would have an extremely powerful titled Douluo in the future. Even Tang Hao, who is hailed as the greatest genius of the Clear Sky sect in the past 100 years, is far inferior to her. Looking at the entire younger generation of Soul Masters, Bibi Dong can be said to be the leader. Of course, there were two people present who did not think so. The Crown Prince Shuya of the Tiandu Empire and the young master Ning Fengzi of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, who were sitting near the Pope's VIP seat, looked at each other. Ning Fengzi transmitted his soul power and said, "It seems that only Haibadong can compete with the saint in the future. Tang Hao may be able to do it, but at least he has to wait until he inherits the title of Clear Sky Douluo." Shuya nodded heavily upon hearing this. Although he didn't say anything, he was also glad in his heart that he had won over Haibadong in advance. The other party promised that after being promoted to title Douluo, he would end his training and become a guest official of his Heaven Do Empire. Otherwise, it would be difficult to compete with the increasingly powerful Spirit Hall and Haoshan sect in the future. The competition begins. While announcing the final of the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition, the cardinal who served as the referee quickly retreated to clear the venue. The first to attack from the Clear Sky team was not Tang Zhan, but Tang Jin and Tang Xiang. Relying on the advantage of the wind-attributed Clear Sky hammer, the two of them circled in front of Bibi Dong, one on the left and one on the right, and then simultaneously performed the chaotic cloak hammer technique. Captain Ten Zhan held the flaming red clear sky hammer and did a backflip, soaring into the air. Below him, the four Fen Yun Shuang and Lang had already stood together, and as the lightning on the clear sky hammer flashed, the lightning attracted each other, forming a lightning array. In an instant, the soul power of the four gathered on Ten Zhan, making his soul power reach the Soul Emperor level in an instant. This is their tactic. Taking advantage of the terrain restrictions, Tang Jin and Tang Xiang jointly attacked to limit Bibi Dong's movement space, giving Ten Zhan and his 5 companions time to cast the Clear Sky Sect formation. Later, Tang Jin and Tang Xiang joined in to continuously strengthen the power of the Clear Sky formation, allowing Ten Zhan's soul power to instantly reach the Soul Saint level. In the end, he will defeat Bibi Dong and won the championship of the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition. Unfortunately, imagination is very beautiful. The reality is often more cruel. Bibi Dong would never give them the chance to complete the Clear Sky formation, nor would she, like other people in the Soul Master world, use her head to hit others' hammers, giving them time to accumulate strength and then standing still to let them hit her. Second soul skill, Death Spider Lance. The second soul ring on her body flickered, and 8 purple-black translucent spider spears extended from behind Bibi Dong. The moment Tang Jin and Tang Xiang took action, Bibi Dong had already moved. With one step, the figure moved several feet away. In the blink of an eye, it passed through the position of Tang Jin and Tang Xiang, and entered into it at the moment when the Clear Sky formation was formed. Amid the screams and horrified gazes of Fen Yun, Shuang Lang, and the other 3, the 4 spider spears behind Bibi Dong pierced out from behind and instantly pierced their shoulders. The wound turned purple-black at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the blood from the wound was no exception. It made a popping sound as it dripped onto the ground, causing severe corrosive effects. Looking at Tang Jin and Tang Xiang again, they were already lying in a pool of blood. Although not fatal, the wounds still oozed purple-black blood, corroding their clothes, skin, and the ground. Obviously, they were poisoned by the Death Spider King. Ah, this. Seeing this scene, everyone watching was stunned. No one could have expected that the final of the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition would unfold in such a scene. Less than half a minute after the referee announced the start of the game, 6 of the 7 members of the Clear Sky team were defeated instantly by Bibi Dong. It's totally off the mark. Asshole. When Ten Zhan saw this scene, his eyes turned red and he gasped like a cow. Since the soul powers of other 4 had been concentrated on him, his soul power could still be maintained at the Soul Emperor level for a short period of time. In a rage, the flames of the Clear Sky hammer in his hand were blazing, and he swung the Clear Sky hammer towards Bibi Dong from above. At the same time, his third soul ring lit up, and all the lightning previously derived from the Clear Sky formation on his body gathered towards the Clear Sky hammer, combining with the flames on it to form a huge ball of lightning and fire that appeared on the surface of the hammer head. This was a big move that Tang Zhan specially prepared to defeat Bibi Dong. He was confident that as long as Bibi Dong was hit by this move, she would definitely be defeated even if she was a Soul Emperor. But how could Bibi Dong be so stupid as to charge towards the opponent's hammer? The 4 spider spears behind her were quickly pulled out from the shoulders of others. She dodged the attack of the hammer in an instant and deliberately slowed down her speed so that Tang Zhan could see her movement trajectory clearly. Don't even think about escaping. Sure enough, after seeing Bibi Dong's movement trajectory, Tang Zhan swung the thunder and fire hammer in his hand and headed towards Bibi Dong again. Bibi Dong was not in a hurry to counterattack. She leisurely dodged Tang Zhan's attack of Clear Sky hammer, and on the surface she looked like she wanted to wait for the effect of Clear Sky formation on Tang Zhan to disappear. But in fact, it prolonged the poisoning time of the other 6 Clear Sky sect disciples. Clear Sky Academy admits defeat. When Clear Sky sect leader Tang Wei saw this scene, his face turned gloomy. With a snap, The armrest was cracked by his grip. Seeing that the Clear Sky team had no chance of winning, he decisively admitted defeat. At this time, the effect of the Clear Sky formation on Tang Zhan had disappeared. When Tang Wei stood up and had not yet spoken, Bibi Dong's third soul ring lit up, and she sprayed a death spider web to bind Tang Zhan, whose cultivation level had recovered to that of a soul sect. As Tang Wei finished speaking, the spider web fell on Tang Zhan, binding him. Tang Zhan immediately struggled and fell to the ground. In a moment, because the spider web also contained the Death Spider King toxin, Tang Zhan's body began to turn black and purple. He pulled out a few times and gradually stopped moving. Seeing this, Tang Wei could no longer suppress his inner anger. His eyes were red, and he stood up and panted like an ox to question King Sunji, "Your Holiness, the All-Continental High-Level Soul Master Academy Elite Competition is a place for the younger generation of Soul Masters to show their strength and provide a place for them to hone their skills. Don't you think it's too cruel for your disciple to do this to my Clear Sky Sect disciples?" King Sunji stood up and smiled coldly. Just as he was about to speak, Bibi Dong's voice came from the competition arena. "Sect Master Tang is so overbearing." Tang Wei looked in the direction of the voice and saw Bibi Dong using the Death Spider Lance to detoxify Tang Zhan and the other 7 men on the stage, while secretly absorbing their vitality. She said. Just as Sect Master Tang said, the Continental High-Level Spirit Master Academy Elite Competition is a place for the younger generation of Spirit Masters to show their strength and hone their skills. How come I saw 7 disciples of your sect beat the Tiande Royal Academy team so badly that it was even worse than now, but why didn't Sect Master Tang say who was ruthless at that time? End of this chapter. For Chapter 96, Chapter 96, this old thing. Chapter 96, this old thing. Then what are you talking about, Father? Originally, Qian Sunji had already thought of what to say, and even if Qian Daoliu was dissatisfied with his words, he would not really blame Bibi Dong for the sake of his son. But after hearing what Qian Daoliu said, he couldn't help but look puzzled. I am not a pedantic person. Although your disciple's style is a bit radical, she has truly protected the interests of the Spirit Hall. Qian Daoliu spoke, and with a gentle soul power, he dragged Qian Sunji to stand up. He said, "This time, I asked you to come for another matter. You should consider expanding our Qian family and the Angel clan." Father, to be honest, I already have a someone I like. If it were usual, Qian Sunji would have dealt with it perfunctorily, because he felt that in today's Spirit Master world, apart from Bibi Dong, no other woman was worthy of him, the Pope of the Spirit Hall, the descendant of the Angel clan, and the contemporary Angel Douluo. And Bibi Dong was her disciple. Out of consideration for the impact, he could not force her to marry him unless it was absolutely necessary. If this got out, it would reflect badly on him as the Pope. But now it's different. According to Ling Yuan's previous report, his disciple Bibi Dong loved and admired his teacher very much. She even beat the crap out when that shit wanted to pursue her. She would not fall for you shit and would rather find someone like his teacher. In addition, Bibi Dong has disguised herself too well in recent years. This made King Sunji firmly believe that as long as he, the teacher, was willing to lose face, the other party would definitely be with her. As for the master-disciple relationship, there is no need to worry at all. As long as there is love. On the surface, they can be master and apprentice, but secretly, they can be husband and wife. Ling Yuan. Qian Daoliu frowned and asked back. He knew how arrogant his son was and how picky he was. In the past, Ling Yuan might have been looked down upon by the other party. But now her martial soul has transformed into the top-grade beast martial soul, the Fire Phoenix, and she has also obtained a 100,000-year spirit ring. It is inevitable that it will catch the other person's eye. But as far as he knew, Ling Yuan had a man outside. Forcing a titled elder would only do harm rather than good to the Spirit Hall. No, it's my disciple Bibi Dong. Qian Sunji naturally knew that Ling Yuan had a man, and he had mobilized the power of the spirit hall to look for him. He was a pretty boy who was less than 20 years old. He is a pervert, not a fool. If he forced a titled Douluo with a 100,000-year spirit ring to marry him, on top of that this titled Douluo is also a loyal elder of his own spirit hall. Unless he's out of his mind. After hearing King Sunji's words, Qian Daoliu's eyebrows did not relax, but frowned even tighter. What about her attitude towards you? If Bibi Dong is interested, then that's fine. He's not a pedantic person and won't object just because of their master-disciple relationship. After all, with Bibi Dong's twin martial spirit talents, combined with his son's, there is a great chance that a talented angel descendant will be born to his Qian family. All you need to do is keep it secret between the two of you and not make it public. He was afraid that his son would force others, which was not what Qian Daoliu, as a father, wanted to see. After all, he was barely a gentleman. Donger has admired me for a long time, but due to the relationship between master and disciple, we have not been able to break through this window paper. I plan to wait until she breaks through to the soul saint level, and then take the initiative to declare our relationship. King Sunji pursed his lips and said confidently. Hearing this, Qian Daoliu was silent for a while. That's good, you can go down. Yes. Father. Hearing this, Qian Sunji knew that his father would not object. He was instantly overjoyed and left respectfully. After leaving the elders' hall, he went straight back to the Pope's palace, wanting to summon Bibi Dong, but Bibi Dong was already waiting for him in the meeting hall. Teacher, I plan to go to the slaughter city for training tomorrow. This was the first sentence Bibi Dong said after seeing King Sunji. Have you really thought it through? Qian Sunji looked at Bibi Dong, who was kneeling on the ground in front of him, and then he remembered that Bibi Dong once said that she wanted to go to the city of slaughter for training. Bibi Dong nodded firmly. Teacher, there is a huge gap between spirit masters of the same level with and without domains. If I don't have a domain, even if my spirit power surpasses Tang Hao in the future, I will inevitably be suppressed by him. For the sake of teacher and the spirit hall, I am willing to take this risk. Hearing that Bibi Dong was doing this for him, Qian Sunji's expression softened, and he looked at her with eyes full of doting and heartache. Actually, you don't need to do this. You are already very good. When you cultivate twin martial spirits in the future, and the second martial spirit obtains a full set of 10,000 or even 100,000 year spirit rings, even if Tang Hao has the death god domain, he will no longer be your opponent. Noticing King Sunji's gaze, if it was before her rebirth, Bibi Dong would definitely be very touched, but now the more he acted like this, the more disgusted she felt. Resisting the disgust in her heart, Bibi Dong shook her head and said, No, teacher, the cultivation of twin martial souls is extremely difficult. The last owner of twin martial souls died because he could not withstand the backlash of the multi-attribute spirit ring energy. So disciples cannot rely solely on her twin martial spirits. If she want to surpass Tang Hao, she must go to the city of slaughter and obtain the god of death domain. King Sunji smiled calmly, and looked at Bibi Dong with a softer gaze. It seems that the innocent and romantic little girl has finally grown up. Bibi Dong stared into King Sunji's eyes and said, I know for myself that before Tang Hao obtained the death god domain, he was definitely not my opponent. Since Tang Hao was able to come out of it, then I can do it, too. This is not only for myself, but also for the spirit hall, and even more for my teacher. If I can make it out alive, I hope my teacher will promise me one thing. As she spoke, Bibi Dong recalled Lin Hanye's appearance in her mind. She lowered her head, looked shy in front of King Sunji, and her voice was as soft as a mosquito. Dong-er. King Sunji had never seen Bibi Dong like this before, and was instantly numb. He subconsciously wanted to reach out and pull Bibi Dong up from the ground, but Bibi Dong dodged him. This old thing. Bibi Dong cursed inwardly, but remained calm on the surface. She knelt on one knee in another place and said, "Disciple knows that I am not worthy of the teacher before I obtain the death god domain. I hope the teacher will help me." Hearing Bibi Dong's almost explicit words, Qian Sunji thought that what Bibi Dong said was that she wanted to marry him, so how could he refuse? He smiled with relief and said, "Disciple, I see hope for the future of Spirit Hall in you. Get up. I agree that you can go, but you must remember that you must come back alive. As long as you come back, teacher will agree to anything you ask for." As he spoke, he raised his hand, and the wristband on his hand glowed. When he turned his palm over, a green leg bone appeared in his hand. This is a right leg bone of extremely high quality, which was obtained from a 90,000-year-old bright unicorn when King Sunji hunted the ninth soul ring. If he had not absorbed the right leg bone of the angel suit at that time, he would definitely absorb it. End of this chapter. 3 Chapter 97, Chapter 97, Bibi Dong enters the slaughter city. Chapter 97, Bibi Dong enters the slaughter city. Looking at the soul bone given by King Sunji, even Bibi Dong, who was usually calm, couldn't help but be a little surprised. "Let's absorb this piece of the right leg bone of the light unicorn and the piece of the mental immune skull before you leave," King Sunji said lovingly. "Yes, teacher." Bibi Dong lowered her head and agreed respectfully, but her peerless beautiful eyes revealed endless coldness. "King Sunji, the next time we meet, it will be the day of your death." The next morning, Bibi Dong left Spirit City under the escort of Yuegwen and Gaimei. After half a month of sleeping in the open air, they finally arrived at the town where the entrance to the city of slaughter was located. This town doesn't look big, but as soon as they stepped in, they felt that the atmosphere around them was a little strange. They couldn't tell why, but they always felt that there was a special chill in the people around them. Bibi Dong, who had been to the city of slaughter in her previous life, so she was not unfamiliar with it. They brought Bibi Dong to a tavern in the town and stopped. "Your Highness, the city of slaughter has always had a cooperative relationship with our spirit hall, but anyone who enters it will no longer be able to use spirit ring skills. We can only escort you here," they said respectfully. At this time, Bibi Dong had changed into a black robe with golden decorations, covering her whole body tightly. One could only vaguely judge that she was a woman by her peerless beautiful eyes and the convex curves of her upper body. "Thank you both for your help." Hearing their words, she replied indifferently and walked into the tavern. The air in the pub was very turbid and all the decorations were black. Although it was daytime outside, the inside gave people a cold and dark feeling. At this time, the pub was about 50% occupied. Although the air was turbid, there was no one there and it seemed unusually safe. Everyone kept peeking at the corner near the window, seeming to be very afraid. Bibi Dong didn't even look at these people when purple-black aura fluctuations rose up. Along with the shadow of the Death Spider Emperor that appeared in an instant, 6 soul rings quietly appeared on Bibi Dong's body. Yellow, yellow, purple, black, 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 6 super-standard spirit rings appeared silently. The 4th soul ring suddenly shone brightly, and the next moment, accompanied by a scream that resounded through room, the entire tavern was instantly filled with a layer of evil purple-black. Purple-black thorns over 10 meters long covered Bibi Dong's body, and the hard cones pierced through the bodies of the hotel waiters one after another, leaving only the corner of the window untouched. A moment later, all the pierced bodies turned black and purple at a speed visible to the naked eye, and then completely lost their vitality. This is the 4th soul skill of her Death Spider martial spirit, Thorn Spider Armor. In her previous life, her Thorn Spider Armor was only a 1000-year soul skill, which came from a 5000-year-old Thorn Demon Spider. It was only a single target defense skill, but after absorbing the 10,000-year-old Thorn Demon Spider Soul Ring, this skill not only greatly increased the defense, but also allowed the spider thorn length to be freely controlled and released instantly to achieve the effect of medium and long-range attacks. "Let's go," Old Ghost said to the ghost. Then he turned and went in the direction he came from. The ghost looked around at the tavern for the last time and was amazed. It seems that people really grow up. The innocent saint from the past is no longer there. There is only a top powerhouse who is destined to stand at the top of the continent in the future. A bunch of dirty trash. The purple-black color in Bibi Dong's eyes suddenly became stronger. When she turned around and walked to the corner of the window, the soul ring and the purple-black thorns on her body disappeared at the same time. Puff, puff, puff. Corpses fell to the ground one after another, and then were corroded by the purple-black toxin. Soon, only pools of purple-black pus and blood remained on the floor of the tavern. At this time, Bibi Dong had a look of joy on her face. She slowly took off her hood and mask, revealing her stunningly beautiful face. There was no concealment of love and tenderness in her eyes, as if the murderer before was not her. The black-robed man sitting by the window also took off his hood, revealing long ice blue hair and a handsome young face. "It seems I don't need to worry. With such ruthless determination to treat the enemy, it is only a matter of time before you pass the slaughter city." The man in black robe was naturally Lin Hanye. The day after Bibi Dong left Spirit City for Slaughter City, he learned the news from Ling Yuan. Then he arrived here early. "I've been through this place once in my previous life, so this time is just a revisit." Bibi Dong looked at Lin Hanye, the endless love in her eyes almost tearing out threads. Since the two of them were communicating through soul power, they didn't have to worry about others eavesdropping. Moreover, Lin Hanye sensed that Zhu Gui had gone far away. Lin Hanye nodded without saying anything. He slowly walked forward and held her in his arms. Bibi Dong also hugged him tightly. The two felt each other's heartbeats, and no one spoke. After a long while, Lin Hanye reluctantly let go, looked at her peerless face, and said softly, "You must come back alive, and we will get married when you come out." "Good." Just because of Lin Hanye's words, she will get out of this alive no matter how difficult it is. After saying this, she walked to the hotel counter with ease, opened the entrance to the Slaughter City mechanism, and finally looked at Lin Hanye again, then jumped in resolutely and quickly disappeared into the darkness. And just after Bibi Dong went in, the mechanism closed automatically, as if it had never appeared. Lin Hanye looked at the place where Bibi Dong disappeared, but he was not too worried, because in the sixth simulation, Bibi Dong came out safely. The reason why he came here specially was just out of a man's concern for his woman. Time flies, and Bibi Dong has been in the city of Slaughter for a year. During this year, in addition to practicing, Lin Hanye would sneak into the Slaughter City to see Bibi Dong every few months. Inside Yin-Yang Eyes of Ice and Fire a new wooden house had appeared, and it was filled with a wide variety of bookshelves, and books on Soul Master Theory were arranged in different categories. On a wooden table in the middle of the cabin, Lin Hanye was alone, holding a stack of manuscripts, seemingly organizing and writing something. "What have you been busy with all day, you little rascal?" Until a charming voice sounded, awakening Lin Hanye, who was immersed in his busy work. End of this chapter. For Chapter 98, Chapter 98, Soul Master Training Manual. Chapter 98, Soul Master Training Manual. Looking up, Lin Hanye looked towards the door. Ling Yuan, dressed in red and with an increasingly attractive figure, walked in. "What, you want it again? My Lord Phoenix Douluo." Lin Hanye smiled wickedly, and when Ling Yuan came closer, he pulled her into his arms, and his dog's paws were about to reach into the snow-white collar of her clothes out of habit. "Bah! So frivolous." Ling Yuan spat, raised her hand to slap the dog's paw away, and shifted her gaze to the information on the table. "What is this?" As she spoke, she picked up the manuscript and looked at it. There were 6 words written on it: Soul Master Training Manual. You can find out by yourself by reading it. After you finish reading it, I have something to ask of you. Lin Hanye smiled. Seeing Lin Hanye's mean look, Ling Yuan knew that this guy definitely had no good intentions, but she still picked up the Soul Master Training Manual and started to read it. 1. There are no useless martial spirits, only spirit masters who can't practice any martial soul that has awakened its innate soul power can be cultivated. As it absorbs soul rings, its martial soul will continue to transform. However, if it chooses soul rings with different attributes from its martial soul, its talent will be limited, and it will eventually stop at a certain level and be unable to break through. For example, Yu Xiaogang, a direct disciple of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, originally had a martial soul that was even more powerful than the Blue Lightning Tyrant dragon. It was a golden holy dragon with light attributes. However, because he was too weak, he could not bear the martial soul, which led to a malignant mutation when he awakened, and he awakened it into a pig. Later, because he absorbed non-light attributes and even non-dragon spirit rings one after another, he stopped at level 29 for life. If the first 2 soul rings are sub-dragon soul rings of light attribute, it will be able to break the original talent limit and allow the martial soul to gradually return to its original state. 2. The absorption limit of the spirit ring is closely related to the spirit master's physical fitness, spirit ring attributes, and mental strength. 14. The birth of the martial soul. A soul master's martial spirit is usually inherited from his parents. When the quality of the parents' martial spirits is similar, there is a very small chance of twin martial spirits being born. If the martial soul attributes of the parents are similar, it is easier to inherit the stronger martial soul. On the contrary, if the martial soul attributes conflict, it is easy for the martial soul to mutate. Inside the wooden house, Ling Yuan was quietly flipping through Lin Hanye's manuscript of Soul Master Training Manual. The more she read, the brighter Ling Yuan's eyes became. Although there are not many things recorded in the Soul Master Training Manual, its content is all-encompassing. Yet it is simple and easy to understand. Even she, a titled Douluo, couldn't help but be amazed after seeing it. At the same time, she couldn't help but start to regret it. Because she found that most of her previous soul ring choices were wrong. If she had known this knowledge at the beginning, she would have cultivated to the level of titled Douluo long ago even without the immortal herbs. She had the urge to take off the first 8 soul rings and get them again. But then again, if she had broken through to the titled Douluo earlier, she would not have met Lin Hanye, let alone obtain the immortal herbs and the 100,000 year spirit ring. All in all, it was a good deal. Before she knew it, Ling Yuan was so engrossed in reading that she didn't even notice Lin Hanye's claws reaching into her clothes. You really are a monster. Half an hour later, Ling Yuan finally read the general contents and breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at Lin Hanye with admiration. She had admired Lin Hanye before, for being able to get to where he is now with only half of his innate spirit power. Now she admired Lin Hanye's wisdom and knowledge even more. She felt proud and honored to have such a man. A monster? Then I'll take that as a compliment. Lin Hanye smiled slightly, without any modesty. Why is there no record of your soul power application skills and knowledge of your self-created soul skills? Especially your Raise Nan, which is simply a close combat skill. You didn't even write about the effect of whale glue. There was no mention of fusion ring, martial soul fusion skills, multi-body fusion skills, and the ice heart skill that can open up the 8 extraordinary meridians of the soul master. Ling Yuan ignored Lin Hanye's pride and continued asking. The knowledge here is only for ordinary soul masters. I didn't record some things that are only useful to genius soul masters. Not to mention that recording those things is useless for ordinary soul masters' cultivation, it will only waste their time. Just like the Raise Nan, with your talent, cultivation, and current control over your soul power, you can learn it in 2 or 3 months. For others, it may take several years to see any results. It would be better to use this time to improve your soul power. Even Lin Hanye himself spent 3 years in simulation before he learned it. One of the reasons is certainly because soul power and chakra are two different power systems that need to be explored, but there is no doubt that it takes time. Besides, even if it is really useful, I am not selfless enough to share it. I don't want to give this precious knowledge to others casually. As for whale glue, everyone has selfish motives, and I am no exception. If possible, I hope that no one other than me, my family and my companions will ever know about it. At the very least, the later it is known, the better. Lin Hanye explained with a smile. That's true. Ling Yuan nodded in agreement and asked casually. So are you planning to use this to establish a Soul Master Guild in the future? No, I plan to present it to the Spirit Hall. Lin Hanye shook his head. Would you be so kind? Ling Yuan is sure that if this thing is handed over to the Spirit Hall, a group of outstanding and powerful Soul Masters will definitely be born in the next few decades, greatly increasing the strength of the Spirit Hall. At the same time, she also knew that Lin Hanye was a man who would never suffer any loss, and it would not be an exaggeration to say that he would not release the eagle until he saw the rabbit. For example, the 100,000-year spirit ring. If I had not had sex with him, he would never have given it to me. Being so generous today, he must have some ulterior motive. Thinking of this, Ling Yuan couldn't help but look at the other party with suspicion. Do I look like someone with ulterior motives? Lin Hanye was speechless. It's not like you, but you are just that. If you show your kindness to others, you are either a traitor or a thief. Remember what I said at the beginning? Although I won't care about the conflict between you, the saint, and the Pope, I will never do anything to harm the Spirit Hall. Ling Yuan looked serious. Then do you think that after this thing is handed over to the Spirit Hall, it will be harmful to the Spirit Hall? Lin Hanye asked back. No. But from what I know about you, you must have some plan. Ling Yuan shook her head, but still looked at him suspiciously. Okay, I admit that I did have some plans. I guess you should also know that old bastard King Sunji has always coveted Donger's body, right? At this moment, Lin Hanye had complaints about Ling Yuan for not being love-minded. People say that love-brained people are annoying. But when the person who likes you is not love-brained, it is really frustrating. End of this chapter. 8 Chapter 99, Chapter 99, Tang Hao comes out of retreat. Chapter 99, Tang Hao comes out of retreat. Ling Yuan nodded and listened to Lin Hanye again. Now Donger has gone to the slaughter city, that old thing has no chance even if he wants to. The purpose of writing this is to make that old thing give up early and choose another good match after knowing that his martial soul and Donger's martial soul attributes conflict. That way, Donger and I won't have to fight a life and death battle in the future because King Sunji is entangled with Donger's body. There are 3 other purposes that Lin Hanye did not mention, that is, 1. Lin Hanye wanted Qianrongxiu to be born, and 2nd, become famous through this. Let people all over the continent know about him so that he can gather faith in the future. By the way, he wanted to find out the background of the 7 Treasures glazed tile sect and see who was involved in his father's death. I'm sorry, little rascal, I misunderstood you. Hearing Lin Hanye's words, Ling Yuan immediately returned to her former charming and seductive look. Because of this incident, Lin Hanye no longer wanted to be intimate with Ling Yuan, so he pulled his hand out of Ling Yuan's collar, stood up, walked to the window, and turned his back to Ling Yuan. Seeing that Lin Hanye was really angry, Ling Yuan immediately kissed him, wanting to reconcile, but Lin Hanye refused to listen and acted as if to say, I'm angry and don't want to pay attention to you. Helplessly, Ling Yuan had to use her trump card. She pursed her lips, walked forward, and whispered something into Lin Hanye's ear. Lin Hanye, who was still angry at first, suddenly had a flash of excitement in his eyes. He couldn't help but turn around and ask. Is hanging upside down also okay? Of course. Ling Yuan said, and then she jumped up and fell into Lin Hanye's arms. He carried her like a princess. She signaled Lin Hanye with her eyes to go to the cave where they had had sex, which Ling Yuan had now built into a comfortable cave. Now it has become a special place for the two of them to meet. Just at this moment, a strong soul power fluctuation came from next door, the door opened, and Yin, emitting a level 60 soul power fluctuation, walked out of the wooden house next door. Through the window, she just saw her being carried in a princess hug. Her face was slightly red. She glanced at Ling Yuan, who was nestled in Lin Hanye's arms, and said something similar to what she said a year ago with some trepidation, "I'm sorry, did I come at the wrong time?" Lin Hanye was stunned for a moment, then appeared beside Yin in an instant, holding Ling Yuan in his arms. He stretched out his other hand and gave the same answer as last time, "No, you came at the right time." After saying that, without waiting for Yin to react, Lin Hanye held Ling Yuan in his left hand and put his arm around Yin's waist with his right hand. Amid Ling Yuan's intriguing smile and Yin's shy look, he opened a swift iceberg soul bone and flew to the cave. What follows is self-explanatory. On the other side, Tang Hao, who was already 30 years old, spent a year and finally walked out of the back mountain. Haha, Tang Hao, finally broke through level 70. In Clear Sky Square, Tang Hao stood in the center. His voice spread through most of Clear Sky sect under the spread of soul power. At the same time, the soul power fluctuations and the death god domain on his body were released without reservation, forming a powerful momentum. Hao finally came out of seclusion. A soul saint at the age of 30 is simply unheard of. Brother Hao is really amazing. When everyone in Haoshan sect heard the news, including Tang Wei and the 6 elders, as well as Tang Xiao and many other disciples of Clear Sky sect were attracted to come. Seeing that Tang Hao had already broken through to Soul Saint, all of them were filled with joy, and they were sincerely happy for Tang Hao's breakthrough. Everyone felt that as long as Tang Hao became stronger, their sect would become stronger in the future. Of course, there are also concerns. The second elder Tang Bai said, Hao's breakthrough to level 70 is worth celebrating, but the saint of the spirit hall is 9 years younger than Hao. Last year, her spirit power had already reached level 67. It is said that she has now entered the slaughter city to obtain the death god domain. Hearing this, the others couldn't help but look worried. Especially Tang Zhan and others, since they were defeated instantly by Bibi Dong a year ago, they have almost developed a certain fear of her. If possible, they never wanted to face that extremely terrifying woman again. Tang Hao said dissatisfiedly, "Second uncle, why do you have to boost others' ambitions and destroy your own prestige? I admit that the woman has good talent, but soul power cannot represent everything, and the Clear Sky Hammer can only exert its true power when it reaches the Soul Saint level and activates the Clear Sky True Body. When I obtain the 7th Soul Ring, I am confident that I will not fear anyone below the titled Douluo level. After I enter the titled Douluo level, I will learn Grandfather's ring blasting skills, needless to say. As for the Death God domain, the City of Slaughter is not so easy to get through. You cannot use spirit ring skills there. Without self-created spirit skills like our Clear Sky sects, it is still unclear whether that woman can get through." After hearing this, Tang Bai, Tang Zhan and others put aside their worries and came to their senses. Yes, their Clear Sky sect's strength has never been their training speed, but their Clear Sky Hammer. On the other hand, what's with Bibi Dong? She just cultivated faster and had higher soul power, so she bullied the lower soul masters. If they were of the same level of cultivation, Bibi Dong would not necessarily be much stronger than Tang Zhan and the others. Thinking of this, Tang Bai couldn't help but feel regretful. It's a pity to lose the ant's left arm bone, otherwise Hao would have broken through to level 70 long ago. The left arm bone of the ant? What's wrong, second uncle? Tang Hao asked in surprise. Buzz. Before Tang Bai could answer, the space behind Tang Hao suddenly blurred, and a figure suddenly appeared behind Tang Hao. Father! Grandfather! Great Elder! Everyone in the Clear Sky sect hurriedly bowed and saluted. Grandfather! Tang Hao is no exception. Very good. Finally, someone who can inherit my title of Clear Sky Douluo has appeared in my Clear Sky sect. The person who came had an aura as deep as the sea. He was wearing a grey long robe, with black hair and black eyes. He was Tang Chen, the dragon rat of the Clear Sky sect who had retired for many years. Thank you for your guidance over the years, Grandpa. Hao will work hard to cultivate and create more glory for the Clear Sky sect. Tang Chen nodded. It's good that you have this thought, but don't be proud and complacent. You know, that girl from the spirit hall is no ordinary person. Even Qiandaolio and I back then were not as good as that girl. And Flanders, Zhao Wuji, and others who joined forces to defeat you were no ordinary people either. Hao will never lose to anyone again. Tang Hao said firmly. Grandpa is very happy to see that you have not lost your fighting spirit. Well, it's time to make the announcement. Tang Chen smiled. Yes, Father. Tang Wei was very happy to see his son's achievement. He announced loudly, Tang Hao, the second-generation disciple of Clear Sky sect, broke through level 70 at the age of 30 and also obtained the Death God domain. He is qualified to be the next leader of Clear Sky sect. 1 month later, we will invite soul masters from all over the world to hold a sect celebration. Tang Hao will be officially awarded the position of young leader of Clear Sky sect and the last inherited soul bone of the sect, the right arm bone. End of this chapter. Chapter 100. The Strength Clan died in vain. The Clear Sky sect has 6 soul bones that are more than 70,000 years old, all of which were obtained by Tang Chen from hunting soul beasts in his early years. 3 of them were absorbed by the sect leader Tang Wei. He chose to leave the remaining 3 pieces to his 2 sons, 1 for each of them when Tang Xiao was 30 and Tang Hao was 20. Now, this right arm bone of Titan Ape is the last soul bone inherited by the Clear Sky sect. Brother Hao, congratulations. Hearing his father announce that Tang Hao would be the next leader of the Clear Sky sect and reward him with this last soul bone, Tang Xiao was sincerely happy for his younger brother. Although some of the other disciples of the Clear Sky sect were envious, no one expressed dissatisfaction. After all, this was something that Tang Chen had decided on, so who would dare to disobey? Moreover, with Tang Hao's talent and current achievements, he was worthy of the title of Young Sect Master. Thank you, Brother Xiao. Tang Hao was also very happy to hear his elder brother's blessing. For a while, everyone in Clear Sky sect was quite happy. After Hao have absorbed the soul bone, you will follow the 3rd elder, the 4th elder, and the 7th elder to the Star Ou Great Forest to hunt for the 7th soul ring. After that, Yoi will return to the sect to participate in the succession ceremony for the young sect leader. After the succession ceremony, you will go out with your eldest brother to train for 10 years. Tang Wei said to Tang Hao. Yes, Father. Hearing that he could finally go out and gain experience, Tang Hao couldn't help but feel excited. He had wanted to go out and explore the world for a long time, but unfortunately his father had never allowed him to do so. And the girl in blue who met in the town before, he don't know how she is doing now, and whether he can see her again. Thinking of this, Tang Hao couldn't help but get angry. Flanders, Zhao, for the humiliation you inflicted on me in the past, I will repay you 100-fold the next time we meet. Second brother, the matter of the succession ceremony of the young master is now in your hands. Tang Wei didn't know what Tang Hao was thinking, so he turned to Tang Bai. Don't worry, sect master. I will notify the 2 empires, the Spirit Hall, the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect and other major sections. I believe that in the entire Spirit Master world, no one dares to deny my Clear Sky sect face. Tang Bai pursed his lips and said confidently. In that case, I'll leave this matter to you. Don't bother me unless it's necessary. Tang Chen was not interested in getting involved in these things. Now he just wanted to see Tang Hao grow up and take over the responsibility of the sect from him. By then, he can leave the sect with peace of mind and pursue the legendary position of God. After saying this, Tang Chen turned around and disappeared in the clear sky sect square. As soon as Tang Chen left, Tang Hao recalled what Tang Bai had said about the ant's left arm bone. "Oh, by the way, second uncle, what was that about the ant's left arm bone you mentioned earlier?" As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the clear sky sect, who had been happy because Tang Hao had broken through level 70 and was about to succeed the position of young sect master, suddenly quieted down. Tang Xiao answered for Tang Bai with a serious expression, "Brother Hao, you have been practicing hard in the back mountain for the past 2 years to break through the bottleneck, so you may not know yet. A year ago, Titan sent a message to the sect, saying that when he was hunting for the 8th soul ring, he found a piece of left arm bone from a 30,000-year-old ant. That soul bone is extremely suitable for strength-type soul masters, so he plans to give it to you after the soul master competition is over." Who would have thought that on the night of the soul master competition qualifiers, a few thieves suddenly came to Tiandu City. They not only killed more than 100 people from the Strength Clan's Tiandu City branch, but also looted all the property of the branch. Even old Titan himself is missing, most likely he was killed. As for the soul bone, it must have fallen into the hands of those thieves. Hearing this, Tang Hao's eyes instantly turned red and he gasped like a cow. "Damn it, who are they?" Even the god of death domain broke out uncontrollably, and the air suddenly became cold. Fortunately, Tang Wei and others saw that the situation was not good, and hurriedly released their aura to protect the clear sky sect disciples behind them. Otherwise, those second generation and below disciples would have been hit by the death god's domain, vomiting blood and getting injured. What's wrong with you?" Tang Wei frowned. He originally thought that Tang Hao had washed away all worldly desires after 2 years of hard training in clear sky sect, but he never expected that there was still a risk of losing control. The bloodshot in his eyes faded away. Tang Hao took a deep breath, and put away the death god domain. "Father, I'm fine." "You said it's okay, but tell me the truth. Have you forgotten about calming down your murderous aura a long time ago?" Tang Wei said angrily. "Father, I'm really fine. The simplest solution to get rid of worldly desires is undoubtedly to do nothing except necessary meditation, planting flowers and plants all day, or reading books, learning a musical instrument, and cultivating one's sentiments. But how could a rough guy like him accomplish such a thing? Instead of wasting time on this, it would be better to spend more time on cultivation. Brother, do you know who did this to the Strength Clan?" Tang Hao looked at Tang Xiao, still very angry. It's not that he was angry about the disappearance of old Titan and the death of more than 100 people of the Strength Clan. Instead, he was angry that someone dared not take him, and the Clear Sky sect seriously, and even wantonly massacred the Strength Clan who had pledged their allegiance to him. The most important thing is that the soul bone that should have belonged to him was snatched away by someone. This is what Tang Hao can't tolerate the most. Tang Xiao sighed. It's not clear yet, but judging by the situation at the scene, the murderer is most likely the owner of a narrow blade martial spirit, a short sword martial spirit, or a beast martial spirit. The narrow blade martial spirit master is most likely in possession of the god of death domain. Do you know who else besides you and Grandpa has passed through the city of slaughter? Tang Hao shook his head. Except for me and my grandfather, there are no living gods of death left now, unless someone comes out after me. But during the years I was in the city of slaughter, I never heard of anyone with a narrow sword as their martial spirit. That's strange. Tang Xiao looked thoughtful. Tang Hao also couldn't figure it out, so he simply gave up thinking about it. He said coldly, "No matter who those thieves are, if they dare to provoke my Clear Sky sect, they must pay the price they deserve." Upon hearing this, Everyone in the Clear Sky sect nodded in agreement, and everyone shared the same hatred for the enemy. Tang Wei said, regarding those thieves, I have issued wanted orders in both empires. If they dare to show up, they will be killed without a doubt. However, the most urgent task is to prepare for our succession ceremony as the young master. Don't worry, sect master. I'll do it right away. Soon, under Tang Bai's arrangement, the entire Soul Master world received the news that Tang Hao was confirmed as the next leader of the Clear Sky sect. Spirit City, the meeting hall of the Pope's palace. Pope King Sunji also received the news. He is 30 years old and level 70. He is indeed worthy of being the grandson of that man. But it's a pity that he is still far behind my disciple. Jin Zhong flattered, Your Majesty, Tang Hao is indeed very talented, but compared to Her Highness the Saint, he is nothing.